We've had a lot of people waiting for the show, so I apologize. We're late. Of course, it's always a problem. Guys, everybody, please take a seat. Take a seat. No, it's great. I know it's going to be great. Listen, the thing about it is this. We always have a bit of a small technical difficulty behind the scenes, but that's a me problem. It's not a you problem. But it ends up being a you problem because you're sitting in the audience going, where the hell's Mooch? My point being is this. Guys, we have got an outstanding show for you tonight. I am very excited about tonight's show. We put a lot of time, a lot of effort into it. Shout out to Doggy Dog 420, who's in the Super Chat. He says, the Super Chat's working. Join in. Guys, listen. This is one of those nights that's really heartfelt, right? Because there's a lot of emotions when we go through the games, the delays, the new consoles, and how people feel. But nonetheless, before we get into all that, I want to say thank you to all of the Mooch Maniacs out there. You guys mean the absolute world to me. The channel's growing. The Mooch Maniac family is growing, and I want to call each of you guys out, especially with what's been going on with MNC. It's just been fantastic. That being said, let me thank Sir X-Man, Masshole1977, Midway Monster, JudaZuk, WoolleyGamer, Ben Link, Ice Queen Gaming, TrueWiddy, Wraith The Emperor, The Wise Old Gamer, Failed Pyromancer, Frostbite Slash, EDM Gamer Records, Jacob Evans, and the major Mooch Maniacs, Matt Bradley, Sean Slomka, Lucifer, Brian B., a.k.a. Delirium Blades, and the VIP Mooch Maniacs, Van, a.k.a. The Butcher, Van, Marty Bison, the great Marty Bison, Rich Kreiser, Rated D Demonic, the great Doggy Dog 420, Percolator 9000, an honorable mention, of course, and shout out to Wilmy Hood, who reached 10,000 subscribers on his channel today. So shout out to Wilmy and the Forever Mooch Maniac, Longshot 316. So I'll say this much. We are working very diligently behind the scenes to try and get RGT85 Sean in. We're having a little bit of a difficulty with Discord. So Sean may be joining us shortly. I'm waiting for @JMatrix76 if he hears the show to come over and help us. We're having a bit of a problem with Discord. But nonetheless, let me start. First and foremost, with the man you know as the unscripted YouTuber himself, Crap Gamer. Crap, how the hell are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty damn good. How you doing, man? How's
Pretty good, buddy. Pretty good. And I appreciate your help earlier.
yeah, man? No problem, man. You sound much better. Much more Mooch-like.
Yes.
So that's gonna be good, man. I appreciate good topic today. Busy week in gaming. So
Oh, my God, yeah. Let's do it, Crap. I appreciate that. And then I've got the Xbox defense lawyer himself. And believe it or not, I brought a paralegal for him. He's got some help on the panel. But Xbot 448. Xbot, how the hell are you doing tonight? I appreciate the Crap. Apparently, you were muted when you did that fantastic intro, but nonetheless, they couldn't hear you, but I did, and that's all that matters, apparently. Guys, don't forget to unmute your mics. Look at all this. Great to see everybody here in the chat. Guys, please do tweet it out. Hit the subscribe button. Let's get Mooch up there. Oh, they can only hear me. Oh, no. You can't hear Xbot either? Can't hear any Xbot? That was a loud one. I don't. Yes, I am. Yep. Yep. Let's try this out. Let's see if this works. This is always fun. This is great. I love how the settings all got reset. Guys, listen.
It happens.
Listen, it's not a solo cast, okay? I got people here, I swear. All right, Crap, say something. Let's try it now.
You just gotta get Mooch a bottle of alcohol real quick and
hey,
do a solo cast.
Can you guys hear anybody besides me?
It'll take him a second for it to see, but I'm listening to the playback too. I can't hear anything but you.
Hey,
so we'll
yeah. I can hear everybody.
Okay, thank you. We are back. Are we back? We're back? I like it
start
for the.
freestyling, man. Start freestyling
I don't know
until
if
they
this
hear
is right
you.
or not. Tell me if you guys. Can anybody hear? Oh, good now. Everyone's saying good. Okay, there's crap. Everybody's back. Well, listen. Let me explain. So this is what's fun about a show. One of my favorite shows, Crap has talked about this on MNC. One of my favorite shows back in the day, and now it's a little bit different too, but Howard Stern show, right? Some of the best things that happen on radio are the oops and the uh-ohs and the blemishes and the things that just go wrong. Here's my situation. I did a Windows update about a little over a week ago.
Yep.
And what
Windows.
happened, right, and it messed up my audio last week. That's why it sounded like, if you listened to the show last week, it sounded like I was talking into a tin can. Right?
Yeah, like you're far away. Yeah,
Right,
Discord, you got to reset it for Discord, and you have to reset it for
yeah. Does that with Audacity too. It's
Ryan
ridiculous.
Landis goes, we're back, so stop yelling. Listen, I apologize in advance, guys. Listen, it's going to be a
Can't
great
tell
show.
Mooch to stop yelling.
Right? Right. Thank you, Cam. Listen, so here's what I did. I introduced Crap Gamer, the unscripted YouTuber that you all came
What's
to
up? How's it
enjoy.
going, everybody? Thank you for having me here. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Welcome. It's a busy week.
He said he's excited for the Ouya 3 running Stadia during his. You guys missed it.
Yeah, I love. Man, I've switched over to Stadia.
Yeah.
It's great. It's the best move I ever made.
Xbox,
Yeah,
you know what
he's
you should
done.
do? Here's what we should do for Xbox. Xbox, just scream Battletoads so they know you're here.
Yeah,
Right?
give me-
Battletoads.
Now the day can begin, guys. Now the day
There
can
we go.
As
the
it's-
game of the year.
My ears are destroyed. Thanks.
Shout
That
out to
was
the
the goal,
Xbox.
sir.
Shout out to the Xbox Pope who's in the chat. Xbox Pope, he's like, we're getting
Xbox
old over
Pope.
here. Xbox Pope, shout out to the Pope.
Hey, he's
Pope's great.
famous, man. He's
Yeah,
famous.
he is.
He
I
is
love
famous.
that guy. That guy does
Yeah.
incredible stuff.
Hey,
That
Pope,
Bianca Nemo 2
I'm gonna steal your
one's fire.
designs for thumbnails. I will tell you when I'm done.
Really? Does that count if you tell them in advance? I think that counts. It's like an IOU.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Listen, next on the panel here, I believe, and it's so funny because Xbox just yelled Battletoads even louder than the first time, but it was Forte last week who said it. I believe it. Forte, I'm giving you credit for it, regardless if it was you or not. He said, I can't wait till that damn game comes out. So I don't have to hear this guy scream this thing anymore. But anyway, the great gaming Forte's here tonight. Forte, how you doing?
Yo, yeah, man, I'm great. Can't wait to get into these topics with you guys. Last day before I work tomorrow, then I'm off all next week, and a bunch of gaming can happen with all these
No
games.
game, sir. Well, okay.
So yes, so super excited to get into all the crap that happened over this week.
Absolutely.
And Forte, just to let you know, when the game drops, it's only the beginning of that battle cry.
No, I
He's
think
gonna start speed running that damn
No,
thing.
I
You're
think
never
he's
gonna get
gonna-
the end of it.
I think he's gonna hate the game so much he's gonna stop saying it.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
predictions already, man.
Okay.
That's a bold prediction, but I like it. Listen, I got another guest here, guys. You guys are going to love it. He is one of the men that you know from far away. You know that voice. He's on Scumcast. He's on this show enough. I'm trying to get him even more, but he's working on Saturdays. Hustle and motivate. Hustle. Listen, man, it is an honor to have you back on the show, man. Love what you're doing in the community. How are you this evening?
Progression is the obsession. Ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name Hustle and Motivate. It is a pleasure to actually be back here tonight. Mooch, I got you, dog. I'm just going to make sure I'm just going to turn down the overtime next time, and I'll make sure I pull up, man. Whenever you need me, I got you. Hey, man, it is no problem. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some wonderful topics here for you tonight. And Mooch,
Yes.
we talked a little bit behind the scenes, and you said, Hustle, you gotta jump in there. You gotta be a little bit more aggressive.
Yes.
So I got you. Don't worry.
That's what
I'ma
I'm talking
do what I
about.
do.
I'm
It's
waiting.
my
Listen,
man
you know what I'm
Ray.
waiting
Uh-oh.
for? I'm waiting for that breakthrough moment when Hustle starts yelling. That's what I'm waiting for.
Oh no.
Oh, we're gonna get to it.
Oh,
Good
all
luck
right.
with, good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't sound like his voice, man. I don't know.
Hustle too chilled out to yell. Let me tell you.
About to
Hey,
drop
actually,
it all
hold
out.
on. I got to flex on y'all really quick.
Uh-oh.
Actually, if I do yell, y'all not going to be able to notice it because I have a compressor on my preamp.
Oh.
I got my
Oh,
AC
that's
on
that
in the
bicep
background.
right there.
I'm always
You know,
yelling.
hey,
I mind this.
Yo, man, great to have you here. And then I got my buddy here.
Thank you.
Cameron is back. Cameron is back. Or as he likes to go, is Cam Ham Bone. Yo, shout out to Cam from Tick Podcast. Cam, great to have you back on here. And believe me, as excited as I am that you're here, believe my words, Xbox 448 is real excited.
Yeah,
that
you
are
excited,
here
Xbot?
tonight.
You excited?
Absolutely.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Yeah.
You're Team Green, man. That's the
Team Green, yeah.
Yes.
Well, listen, everybody. I might be Team Green. I might have the Xbox preference because I own an ungodly amount of
here?
games on Xbox.
Believe
but I
my
don't
words,
discriminate.
Xbox
If there's something good somewhere else, I'm gonna play it no matter where it is. I'm excited to get into the
Absolutely.
topics tonight. Glad to be back here with Mooch, Xbot, meet some new people, Crap Gamer. Never talked to Big Cloud before, so it's gonna be fun, you know. Like,
oh yes, it is.
let's get, and it's been a crazy ass week.
This is
three.
Can't even wait. But let me say this much. So before I even introduce him, I want to thank BitCloud for saving all of our audio dreams tonight. BitCloud,
Oh yeah,
the man behind the curtain who knows exactly what's going on in podcasting, and his channel's blowing up. Yo, Bit, nice work on your channel. Love the content you're putting out there. Love the podcast, and love the enthusiasm. Bit, welcome back to the show, buddy. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for the invites. Absolutely. Let's definitely get this show on the road.
All right, let's do it, guys. I did keep the audience here 27 minutes, and I apologize. Shout out to Yobi Dread who says, Mooch, it ain't easy. It's not, guys. Remember, the super chat's working. Okay, guys, here's the deal. We've got a big-time problem with Halo Infinite, right? So Halo Infinite was going to be the savior. In my opinion, it was going to be the savior for the Xbox, in my personal opinion, because when you put something out there as big as Halo, what would we have seen? We would have seen Game Pass numbers explode. You would have seen people say, I told you the resurgence is coming back. Phil was the man, this and that. Now, I'm not a big fan of the I told you so. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. But we've all seen with our own eyes, okay, whether it's through the games themselves or through just the delays and issues that come up in the news, that there's a leadership issue. And you can't say, I understand there was a new engine that came out in 2018 and all that, but this is probably one of the biggest developing teams. This has got one of the largest budgets in gaming as we speak. And here we are from 2015 going into 2020, they delayed it. Now, I understand it's very cool to say, right? What's the famous expression? A bad game is bad forever, but a delayed game can still be good, right? I paraphrase.
Came before x86, though, man.
Tell that to Crackdown 3. Tell that to Crackdown.
Well,
3.
yeah, that's wow, crap. That's actually
Crackdown 3's not bad. That's just boring.
It's terrible. You're right. It's not bad.
It's just one again, right? Like,
shout out to
No,
Xbox Pope.
it's not even that though. That's the thing.
Xbox Pope says you're not late, Mooch. We were just early. Xbox Pope, you are a blessing in disguise.
He's the saint.
I am LNPO says Fall Guys multiplayer game of the year. Let me tell you something. We're gonna get into Fall Guys. We're gonna discuss that in a little bit.
Let's talk.
But I want to break this down. Crap, let me go to you first here because I know you're literally chomping at the bit here. It's something that we've been podcasting for years. We've been saying this for years. What's your take when you saw this happen? I mean, I don't think you were surprised, were you? Crap's muted. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I can be crap.
I'm back. What was that? Sorry, I had
you said chomping at the
No, I'm
bits.
saying you're chomping at the bit.
He's not chomping.
Yeah,
you know,
it's weird because what happened was the other week my Discord app on my computer was installing, was updates, and then my computer crashed in the middle, and so now it won't load. So I'm on I keep looking for the app to unmute myself, and it's actually like on a browser right now. So it's difficult. What was the question?
Basically, what was your take when you saw this past, I believe it was Tuesday, if I'm not wrong.
Halo
getting
news?
delayed.
Yeah,
yes.
Well, listen, that game was obvious that game needed to get delayed.
You weren't surprised.
I mean, no, listen, here's the thing, and I've had people come out of the woodwork to tell me, you were right. I'm sorry for calling you a fearmonger. You know what? A year and a half ago, you had, the director of this game leave, and then another director leave within, 30 days, 60 days of replacing them. And we said, hey, this looks a little bit weird. It seems like 343 doesn't have a handle on this. This is coming after Halo 5, which launched, and people like the multiplayer now, but lacked things like Forge or decent maps at launch, and the campaign was pretty bad. And then the Master Chief Collection, which was completely broken. For 3 years, they left that broken, right? So 343 doesn't exactly have people when it comes to Halo, and you could kind of see it, like Bonnie Ross, and mark this down, you guys can, and I said the same thing with Rod Ferguson when Gears 5 would launch. I said he'll leave next year for some reason, but it's basically just going to be because they don't like what he's doing with Gears, and it wasn't as successful as previous ones, and he left. So did the multiplayer person, I forget what his name, Nod Zero or whatever his name is on Twitter. He left as well. That's right. You're going to see Bonnie Ross leave next year. He's going to leave 343. They'll say it's to go someplace else, follow her dream or dream job or whatever. But the bottom line is 343 lacks, like a lot of Microsoft studios, lacks leadership. You can tell that they can't handle the pressure. They can't handle working on such a franchise as Halo. The game looked bad it might, you know what I'm saying? They considered breaking up into pieces. You got to wonder, 5+ years development, $500+ million, 3 to 4 studios working on this thing. That's 1,200 to 1,400 people is rumored to work on this game.
Yeah.
And apparently it's so much in pieces, they considered releasing it in pieces. Now, what that means, who knows? Without multiplayer, only a third of the story. Who really knows? But they decided to delay it. I'm all for the delay. That's good, right? The thing that I don't understand is Microsoft is a $1 trillion company, and the Xbox brand makes billions of dollars. Xbox Series X was in development for between 3 and 5 years, obviously. Apparently, this is the console they wanted to make. So you have this big console 3 to 5 years out, but you don't have a game lined up or games lined up 3 to 5 years out. That's my big problem with this whole situation is, like, open the pocketbook, open the checkbook, buy something, get something, do something. You're Microsoft, for crying out loud. How in the world are you going to go an entire year, this year, the year of our Lord, 2020, with 0 AAA releases in the entire year? I've never heard of one of the big three ever doing that, ever.
Yeah.
A whole year with no exclusives. None. Not a AAA the entire year.
You made great points throughout the past few months, especially on your channel and on podcasts.
I got more to say.
Well, crap. No, and that's fine. You can take the mic back. But my point being here is this. We've been saying that they haven't had the new AAA game, and everybody was like, listen, Mooch, take it easy, okay? Because they're coming with it, and they're coming guns blazing next generation. And here we are. This is a bit alarming. And listen, even if you're an Xbox fan, like, big time, this is not to get on anybody's nerves, but no Halo. And I know everyone's saying the medium. I get it. Or Scorn. Those are smaller games, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they're good. They're good, right, Cam?
systems.
But they're not like which one of your friends, Cam, is like, listen, I don't know about you, Cam, but when that medium comes out, I'm calling in sick.
It doesn't even have a physical release.
0. It doesn't have a physical release, but, like, what's the excuse you make here, right? Okay, they don't have any other games other than Halo. Then someone goes, well, they bought studios in 2018. It takes time. Yes, it does. Then maybe they should have had the foresight to go after acquiring studios in 2017.
They're a games division,
or 16.
right, Cam? Yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about it on Tick last night. Someone brought up how when Shuhei Yoshida went to Sony Santa Monica and saw God of War, they were like, they saw in his eyes, he was like, he wasn't having fun with it, right?
Right.
He made games. Shuhei Yoshida was a game developer, right? Do they have people like that at Microsoft?
I thought, and guys, please correct me if I'm wrong.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in?
Do they have people like that can go and look at games and be like, I don't know about this, and inform people like, maybe this isn't working? Do they have people like that, or are they just business people? Right?
That's a great point, because I got so much to say. I'm busting at the seams. I was telling Mooch, I was like, I got so much to say. I feel bad because you got guests and stuff. But listen, I was going to bring that up earlier. Microsoft and Phil Spencer's like, we let these people do what they want. That's like, have you guys ever seen the sitcom where the parents are and they have kids and they're like, we're going to be the kids for this weekend. You be the parents and see how you deal with it.
Yeah.
That's almost like it is with the Xbox and the developers. Xbox is like, you guys be the parents and do your dream, your heart's content, what you want.
Yeah.
The problem is, and I'll give a good example. Bleeding Edge. Okay, what is Ninja Theory's bread and butter? Right, it is hack and slash story driven narrative games. Okay, so you go, well, what do you want to do? And they're like, we've got this passion project where, get this, you're these cartoon characters and you melee each other in a MOBA. Right. Well, guess what? That didn't work out too well.
I'm going to jump in. I'm sorry. That's a little bit different, and sure, I'm gonna. What is it? What is it called? It's damage control is the phrase we overuse in places on Twitter. I'm not doing damage control. I'm just saying you have a studio that was making Bleeding Edge years before they were acquired.
Why didn't anybody pick that up?
Because they didn't want it. But Microsoft bought. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You don't go in there and cancel the game, and then these people go, because then people working at the damn studio go, fuck, I don't trust them. Why am I going to be here if they're just going to come in and cancel everything? And then they leave. And then you bought a studio where 30 people have now left, right? That doesn't make sense to do that. Yes, they are going to leave.
It is. Listen, supposedly they're working on this game off and on for 4 to 5 years, right? And it wasn't even being worked on. No publisher wanted to touch this thing. Okay,
yeah, and they empowered them with the support and the financial backing to get it done.
And they wasted their money and their time.
Sure, okay, they wasted their money, but like you're right, that game didn't like. I like that game. I know a lot of people don't. It didn't do well. It didn't sell well.
66.
Sure, whatever. That's fine. But you don't 66. You don't walk in and tell people stop doing this right now. You're wasting time and money. Let them finish.
What is Stephen King? What is Stephen King? Hey, what does Stephen King write? Stephen King writes
Stephen
what?
Stephen King
He
makes
writes
books.
horror.
He's not making.
He writes
he's not making-
horror. He
horror
writes
novels.
horror.
Yeah,
He writes
I get the
horror.
point you're
Didn't
making.
he
writes
write Stand By
horror.
Me
Hold
as
on,
well?
hold on. He
Stand
writes,
By
which is
Me.
which is yeah. Listen, he writes horror, and
He
next
sometimes
thing he goes, he wants.
he
And then
sometimes writes
somebody's like,
cyberpunk fiction too,
like,
right?
and Phil Spencer's like, somebody goes up to him and they go, "We want you to do us a comedy, or what's your heart's content?" Well, comedy. Well, that's not going to do very well. Okay,
Well, I think
that's
here's
all.
the-
I don't know.
I'm saying.
No, Crap makes a good point, but Cam,
Listen,
That kind of mentality is too like you get people in there
Rigid.
canceling stuff, and then the narrative years later, if that did get canceled, is we're sitting in this podcast going, "Man, they canceled that game. They should have let that game come out." Like
Well,
we don't
here's
know
the-
what's
let
going
me,
on.
Let me
right?
interject first. Let me interject for a quick
I
second.
called
because
that
think-
game would be shit when we
But
first
that's
saw it.
good. Keep calling games are going to be shit.
But
That's
here's the
fine.
thing,
Go
though.
ahead.
Everybody
but
knew
crap.
it. There's absolutely no
that's-
reason to have a console mobile like that was supposedly, and the
But
lack
that's
of
the thing.
content.
That's where I'm going, Crap. That's what I was
It
just going to
had
say. You're
as
both
well.
you're both making a solid point, but let me explain why. Because here's the situation. Crap, yes, the writing was on the wall that game was probably already doomed from before it started. But where Cam's point holds water in one case because Microsoft's new direction, and Phil was quoted on saying this, it's on a lot of the Twitter feeds the past couple of days, is we want to make sure these games run on a phone. Okay? They're going in a different direction. So I don't think they're necessarily worried about giving us those blockbuster on your couch experiences.
We could see
Well,
how
they're
that might
trying-
that
they're
might not.
trying to give
and
they're
it-
trying to give a
it
It goes back
variety.
to the studios. It goes back to the AA studios they bought. It's
Right,
all about
Bit.
feeding Game Pass. That's all it's really about, bro. It's a Game Pass
Because
model.
Game Pass is the Netflix for gaming, and
Yeah.
Netflix
And-
didn't go,
and what is the-
holy shit,
here's
Stranger
the thing.
Things is awesome. I'm gonna
True.
make a million different Stranger Things, the same theme, the same
Cam,
genre. That's
Hey
not gonna
Kim,
happen.
here's the thing though about Netflix though. What is Netflix mostly filled with? Aside from like a few shows that are
It's all
people
filler.
actually watch.
Bad
Filler,
TV shows,
filler,
yeah.
filler.
No,
And that's
get it,
where
I get
Game
it.
and that's
I
where
get
Game Pass comes into play with the AA studios where you just throw shit out there. When you have a games as service module, you tend to just throw shit at a wall. It's kind of like throwing shit at a dartboard, right? And you're hoping to hit the
Sure.
bullseye. They're
Sure.
throwing random shit out there with the
My
AA
point was
studios.
more to for variety's sake.
Mhm.
Yeah, Bleeding Edge,
Yeah.
Grounded, all this other shit. People don't want that. I don't want cartoon. I don't want those things. Whatever people say, but I still find it ridiculous that now the narrative is, well, they should have canceled those games. You're gonna cancel games people are working on for 2-3 years, yet no one picked it up. Then those people are gonna leave. That's a team of 25 people Ronnie
I mean,
Tucker
I get-
led to
I get
work
what
with.
you're saying.
They're
Or
gonna-
have
they're
those.
gonna
I
fucking
have
get,
those-
leave.
I get
those
what you're
25
saying in
people
terms of
help out
keeping
with
the
Hellblade
relation.
too. Have those 25 people shift over to help out with the game
Yeah,
that people might actually want to
sure.
play.
How
Sure,
about
that's
that? How about
sure.
that? Yeah, they
I
should have.
mean, it's amazing, right? Hey, look, Obsidian, they're an RPG studio. How about we don't have them make a first-person shooter or a racing game?
That's
Just-
big
just
facts.
my-
Because they're not
just
doing
like-
that.
Like, I
Nah.
know, I'm just saying, it's just my crazy opinion, right? Like, let these people do their bread
Sure.
and butter, but you got to have somebody who
It's- and
actually
let's-
goes in there and stop
and
being
ex-
Mr.
I
fucking
agree with
nice
that.
guy all the time.
I agree.
Get
I
somebody in
agree.
there that says, "Hey, this
I
isn't
don't want
quality."
to have people go in there to cancel everything that there
It
is.
doesn't have to be everything, but if you're going to
Yeah.
cancel Scalebound and Fable Legend, then why not cancel something like this? That basically now they're stuck having to support. You're going to have developers stuck supporting this dead game.
This is also like
That's
this is
true.
also like this is also like misunderstanding what canceling a fucking video game does to a studio. Like this is like
Well, here's the thing.
Should have
though,
never
too.
announced it.
But Cam,
that doesn't
I
work
think,
like that.
Well, hold on. I think we're using the word cancel in two different ways here. Cancel with the way you're talking, Cam, could be detrimental to a developing studio. But once
Yeah.
a developing studio is absorbed by Microsoft, and
it's not
it's
But,
not
like
exact.
I'm not
you know what I
talking
mean?
about finances solely, right?
Right.
I'm not talking about finance.
No, you're talking
you
about
got people who were working like 16 hours a day
Right.
for 2 years on this thing.
You're talking about
and now,
mo-
and
you're-
now,
you're
and
talking
now
about
someone from
morale.
the biggest corporation
Right.
on the planet walks
Yeah.
in and goes,
So
shit, fuck you. You're
let
gonna
me,
go,
hey guys,
okay,
listen, you
my
guys,
life.
Man, what do you think? How do you think they feel seeing that nobody played the damn game? There was no advertising. There was no nothing.
Yeah, that joint
It was
fell off
dead- it was-
pretty
how-
hard.
That's
How
they
do-
don't feel good, but there's at least some like you know if you do all the chores
At
around
least
your
they
house
got
and
it
no one
out
walks,
there in their mind.
if you do all the chores around your
Hold on,
house and no one
okay.
walks up to you, crap gamer, and goes, "Good job, man. You still went okay. It's done. That feels good, right? Like that's Come
well,
on.
here's the thing. Hold on. I'm going to give the mic to Forte. I'm going to get Forte and Hustle in here, but we have a lot of super chats, and I want to take care of the customers here in the chat. I guess Sir X-Man says, I made Phil cancel Halo. I'm so sorry. Sir X-Man, please do not take that personally. It wasn't
I knew
you.
it was his fault. I knew he did it.
It wasn't you,
man.
Sir X-Man. Basement Radio Arcade Podcast says, Mooch, PCMR. Woo! Of course, he's back. Couch Gaming says, no leadership or accountability. Hashtag Mooch was right. Your shirt's in the mail, Couch Gaming. And then shout out to 4-Star General who joined. Guys, I didn't even mention it, but right above the description is the join button to become part of the Mooch family. 4-Star General not only joined and became a Mooch Maniac, 2 seconds later, he upped his subscription and went to Major Mooch Maniac. So shout out to that individual. Major Mooch Maniac, not just regular crap. The great Marty Bison says, shout out to the panel. Can't wait to listen later at work. Marty, thank you so much for that. Again, shout out to 4-Star General. And Sir X-Man says, I said all this last week. Oh, Sir X-Man, are you on a rerun? Is this a rerun to you? I don't think so. Sergeant Salty Nut says, Microsoft has no quality control. And I have another one here from our good friend Brap. Shout out to Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, who had the great Jeff Grubb on the past couple of days, getting a lot of great publicity there, Brap. And he says, Microsoft is heading in a different direction and targeting a different gamer. We had Jeff Grubb on Brap Wednesday, and he alluded to this, which is very true. I do think that's true. Yobi says, guys, let's not talk over each other. Yobi, this is old school Crossfire.
Yeah, for real. That was 2 rounds right there.
He is right.
For the next hour and 45 minutes.
I will ask if it's possible, guys, even though the emotions are there. And, guys, by the way, the passion that's coming from you guys is what makes the show so great. I don't want you to lose the passion, but it is hard to hear each other if we're all talking over each other.
All right.
So, no, that's okay, by all means. And then shout out to Mr. Miracle. He says, guys, we don't buy new systems for new games. It's all about those games we've played when LeBron James was still playing in high school. Mr. Miracle,
hey,
God bless you.
clearly, that's sarcasm. I hope nobody takes that as anything else.
Let me give it. So Forte and Hustle were just about to chime in. Forte, I did take the mic away from you. Forte, what was your take with this delay? And more than that, let's talk about from your business end of things. What does this do to Xbox Series X this fall?
Well, first of all, when it comes to the whole conversation about Ninja Theory and how that whole bleeding edge situation played itself out, everybody's at fault kind of when it comes to that. You really can't blame what's going on, because the simple fact is we don't know what the background deal that they had to actually get them to purchase Ninja Theory. Remember, it was like up to the 11th hour before Ninja Theory actually said that they went through, and they even said that in the video that they posted. They said they really had to mow that over. So the fact that who says Microsoft probably had to let them release that game in order for that to be a part of them being able to come over and be a part of their studio. They say, hey, we got this game that we want to put out, and if you guys are willing to let us put this out, along with the other deals that we make, we'll come over and be part of the studio. And Microsoft was looking for people to actually put these products into Game Pass and stuff. So it was kind of a win-win situation. But another thing is you kind of got to let your kids hit the head on the ground every once in a while before they find out what they're making. They don't need to make no more.
Illegal, sir.
So well, listen, everybody in here, if you got kids, your kids is hard-headed, and they sit there and say, oh, I want to be able to do this. Like, okay, go ahead.
If I had a kid and he started banging his head across the damn table till his ears started bleeding.
He ain't doing that.
The way you said it.
We're not doing that. Well, we're not doing that. But when it comes to that, you let them go out and make the stuff they want to do. And then once they find out that that's not the direction they need to go in, that's when you go to them with constructive criticism and actually let them know exactly what the direction of them and what you think they'll be great at. So I think he's absolutely right when it comes to that situation. So, but overall, I don't think this is really going to affect Xbox at all this fall. What's going to happen? No, it's not. I don't think this is going to affect them this fall, because what's going to happen is all these systems are going to sell out no matter what. The problem is what's going to happen in February, March, April, once people start getting that second round of money around tax season. Then you might start seeing Xboxes sitting on the shelf, PlayStation 5s going everywhere, because at that point the lust of the system and like the allure of a brand new product being in your possession will kind of wear off. And the PlayStation is coming with games that people want to play like they normally did, especially stacking that with the third party deals that is being rumored that they're actually building over the course of the beginning of the generation, you'll start seeing the divide happen then. But when it comes to this fall, it's gonna be
people are gonna buy them no matter what.
Whoever can get as many. That's why I made that. Listen, this is why I made that bet with Slow-Mo when I said Xbox could win this holiday when it came to sales. Now, this is before they announced that they said that they were ramping up on production and saying that they were going to double their supply when it came to PS5. We were only going off of the information we had at that time. But now that Sony said that, no, we're going to have upwards of 10 to 15 million systems coming out over the first quarter, that kind of, I'm kind of in my mind like, okay, there's no way Xbox is going to beat them if they're going to put that type of output out. But every system that is going to be available all the way through Christmas will be sold. The question is, how much of that is going to transfer over to Game Pass? How much are they going to build that subscriber base over this fall? That's going to help them prepare them, get them through the first and the rest of the quarter going into the second quarter. So I don't think it's going to really impact them at all, but it all looks like once they hit the second quarter, that's where the real question is going to come in at.
Let me do this real quick before Hustle, and I don't mean to take the mic away from you, but our special guest, RGT85, Sean, I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties, but we got you in here. So many people were waiting like, where's Sean? And I'm like, I swear to God, he's here. He's virtual. Sean, welcome to the show, buddy. Great to have you, buddy. And again, apologize for the technical difficulties.
No, it's all good. Shit happens. I'm glad to be on, man. Glad I finally got in.
Absolutely. And RGT, I'm going to give you so you can see the topic at hand. I'm going to let Hustle take the microphone right now, but RGT, I'm coming to you next on this Halo Infinite delay. I want to get your opinion. Hustle, go ahead.
Man, listen, we saw that July showcase. We saw that bullshit. We saw how it looked. Craig became a meme. I said this in the video I did a few days ago. Craig became a meme, and the worst pizza chain in America, I'm not going to speak for nowhere else, but the worst pizza chain in America was going in on Microsoft. Domino's, how fucking dare you? But no, that game should be delayed, dog. Like, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Bonnie Ross, if I know, what I know about employment and, when things aren't really going well at the office, she is on Indeed.com right now. She is getting the fuck up out of here, dog. It's over. It is over for her reign, Exactly. And I don't like saying stuff like that because
I can speak on that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying I'm generally positive when it comes to those type of things, but I had faith that she was going to be able to put part 4 story and then part 5's multiplayer into Halo Infinite. And I thought it was going to be like a good thing, but no, man, it was looking pretty bad. The gameplay looked fun, but the actual visuals themselves on a 12 teraflop machine, the power of the beast.
Are you saying you actually believed in 343 and Bonnie Ross? Is that what is that what I heard you say?
Oh, wow. This is what I'll say. I'll say that that monster eats beast for breakfast or whatever the fuck Chowdhury said, man.
That monster is in 343 though.
Well, look, some changes need to be made, and if that rumor is true that there's at least 1,200 people working on that, that don't sound great. That's 1,200 people.
The 1,200 people are also, a bunch of those are outsourced. I think they're contractors. So
most massive games like Assassin's Creed and things like that, they have 1,000 close people work on them.
Yeah, well, I just want to say my stomach hurt. I need some Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, usually, Assassin's Creed has 3 of their own studios chiming in the work. Though this is they're working with the team that built Saints Row 3 remake. You know what I mean? These outsourced studios. They used to work with Saber Interactive and some of these other studios. But again, how can the communication be where everybody's working at home on such a big project? I get that hampered it, but you also have to look at Naughty Dog finished Uncharted 4 and then did The Last of Us 2, right? And that and that came out after Halo 5, and same thing with Ghost of Tsushima. That game they started to work on after that, after Infamous First Light.
Well, they didn't build the new engine though for those games. Man.
I mean, they say new engine, but it's really just they built up on the old one.
Where do you get that?
I mean, that was a
brand new slip space engine.
I understand, but that's what Call of Duty says too. But they're still using the baseline Quake stuff on there, right? So they're still coding on there. But anyway,
it still takes time to implement those things.
I understand that, but still 5+ years. This is your $500 million. This is this is supposed to be the cream of the
Dude,
crop.
if they took 2 years making an engine, that means that we would be about 3 years in development for the game. So if it's delayed another year, we always say 3 to 4 years.
Some people are doing different things at the studio.
Well,
Hey, y'all, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Let me read the super chat by my mommy, the Ashton Luca. I recall Hustle capping for Halo on Scumcast.
What does that mean? I'm out of the loop. What does that mean?
I was hyping it up. I was hyping it up. Listen, let me answer that question. I sliced up the gameplay. The gameplay looked fire. We know them visuals look trash. Luca, don't you dare do that to me. You're not gonna do this to your youngest son. You will not.
The reason why Halo
looked the way it did
was because 343 decided that they were gonna make what you would call a Bungie game. All right, that when it comes down to it, they simplified the armor, they simplified so many things like that, and I feel that's what they're going in and changing with this year. And I said year because there's no way in hell that this game is coming out February or March. Like no Halo releases without that term holiday season over it. So it's going to be a year. I think the main issue here, even though 343 and Xbox don't want to talk about it, was they tried to make a game for that old school Halo crowd, right? So they tried to make a Bungie game. And then when the reaction happened, they're like, oh shit. And I think what's going to happen is with this year, they'll be able to go back in and they'll be able to 343 the look of the game more. But this is when it comes to the launch of the Series X, this is a huge blow to Xbox. When it comes down, that was the gem. Like, when the Series X comes out, you're gonna have this game to play on it, and now it's not gonna be there. That doesn't mean that there isn't games to play on the Series X, but when it comes to the marketing, even Crap said it on Twitter about Monster and they're promoting things because the game was supposed to be out. They have promotions going on for codes for a game that's not coming out for a year. It is a huge blow. I don't think it's a nail in the coffin.
I think you kind of nailed it. Well, no, not at all. But I would want to let me take care of the super chats, and I want to get to Sean's opinion on this. Sheriff says, "Why do Xbox guys always have an excuse? Come on, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast says, love Forte, love when he takes his shirt off. Apparently, you guys on BRAP have a closer relationship than I'm aware of.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what's going on over there on Wednesday nights, but nonetheless, Sir X-Man says, crap. Give it to Luca. Apparently
Luca.
There it is. So he's a big fan of that. And then here's Luca, and Luca already called out. Shout out to Nautical doing 5 podcasts a week. So shout out. Oh my God, that is pretty funny. Slow-mo backs up says, get rid of 343 upper management, or that studio will never meet expectations. You can't have creative freedom without quality control. Been saying it for years. Slow-mo, completely agreeing. Showan, real quick. Shout out to Showan, who me and him have always had a great relationship over the years. He says, Mooch called it years ago, 343 management looking suspect. He's not wrong. Yes.
Mooch, real quick on what Slow-mo said here. And if you go back and you check out what the statement that came out, they said that there were many contributing factors, one of them being COVID. For people out there, talking about the state of the world and that being the main reason, even 343 said there were many reasons when it comes down to it. And with me being a Halo fan and liking what 343 did with the campaign in Halo 4 and the multiplayer in Halo 5, seeing that statement and they're talking about the many reasons and stuff like that, it leads me to believe that there is a bunch of turbulence at 343 right now, and
the rumors are out there, and
I can see like Bonnie Ross, Kiki Vanderwijk, like the top of 343, like only wanting to please the Xbox division people. Oh yeah, no, we'll get that done. We'll get that, and the developers underneath them being like, yo, what the hell are you doing? Why the hell are you saying that? Yeah, we're gonna do that now. Like, I can see that happening, and they definitely need to fix that.
And that's what I said on BRAP the other day. It's like Microsoft's vision that they want, or Xbox's vision they wanted for the game to be a performance-based game instead of it being like the looker that normally because that's what kind of threw me off. Because 343, the one thing we could definitely not say they've done is visually their games always look good. And when we saw this one, I was like, this is different. So that's, to me, was more of a stylistic change.
Yes.
Because they were basing all their information off of what Microsoft and Xbox wanted them to do with the game and how they wanted to.
No, Forte, they were basing it off of the old school Halo community, bro.
No. Let's be for real.
I am being for real.
They
100%.
were. No, listen, I guarantee you they had to scale back so much stuff because they wanted to like, dude, once they came out and said 60 frames per second, then they said 120 frames per second, and then listen, then all of this, but then all of this other stuff, get all the leaks and stuff about it being more of an open world game, and then how they said they had to scale that even in more because of the having to make that work on other systems and stuff. This game has changed so much over the course of the last 4 to 5 years that it's unrecognizable now. Because at this point right now, yes, this is probably shout out to Brap. I even told him on the show, this is probably the first time you can actually say that current gen consoles that we are in right now is what's going to hold this game back, because Microsoft truly wants this game to be a performance monster. They wanted to show on console that performance is king, and that's why their whole marketing program was around that. Yes, they were always talking about the most powerful system. They were never capping you with the most visual. They were saying, Phil Spencer, in every interview he was saying, it's like, we're all about the performance. We want you to be able to feel what the game feels like, not what the game looks like, what it feels like. And guess what? Now that they see, like, people seeing what their vision of what Halo was going to be, Microsoft is pulling that back. That's why you're hearing them talk about technology doesn't hold us back and everything, because now they're seeing that people don't want they don't just want performance. They kind of want both. And that's the problem that Microsoft is going against right now. And that kind of hurt 343. And trust me, I can care less for 343 because they haven't given me a good Halo game since they took it over. And that's why I don't pity them one bit. They should have stuck with the things they wanted to, but unfortunately, this is what happens when you don't own the IP that you're working on and you're working for another company.
You got a ton of bills.
I'm going to take care of the super chat, and I really do want to get Sean's opinion on this. Sean's like, wow, this is the easiest guest appearance I've ever done in my entire life. Sean, don't worry. We got plenty of questions for you, Sean. Don't worry. Flaffy1101 says Santa Monica was developing God of War in 2018 and making their own engine at the same time with much less budget and developers. What's the excuse? We talked about that earlier. Yoshida actually went back to the drawing board and said, get back there and make it better. Absolutely. War Machine guy says, when you think of Bungie, you think of Marty O'Donnell and Joseph Staten, not Jason and Alex. That's interesting. People have left and things have changed. Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, Brap is back. He says it's time to admit that Halo isn't it anymore.
No.
It's in a crowded genre where other shooters are better and garner more attention for gamers. Halo needs a massive evolution.
That's just coming from a Warzone addict right there, man. That's not relevant.
You want to know the truth? You want to know the truth about Halo? Halo is oversaturated. That's what it is. It's literally the same shit every year.
You know what it is too, but I just think
Halo doesn't come out every year.
If you look at what Halo, each of the iterations that's come out, has there been enough of a difference from story to story that you guys are satisfied? It's maybe a rhetorical question I'm asking, because I feel like, especially when we saw on July 23rd, it felt just like a rerun. It felt like we've been there, done that.
Again, it felt like a rerun,
right?
Because
you're saying
343 is trying to cater to the old school Halo community with a loud minority.
But listen, if they were really just catering to the old school people, then why would they make it old school looking for the campaign and then go free to play with, obviously it's going to have a completely different aesthetic and keep completely different play for the multiplayer? Like that's not going to appeal to the old school Halo crowd.
They did a completely different gameplay for the multiplayer. They didn't state that at all.
The grappling hook and
the grappling hook will actually be. Hold on, real quick. You asked me a question, man. I'm gonna break it down for you, brother. Yo,
the BR stuff.
When it comes to the grappling hook, they were going to put it in the map, in the arena map, and have it like, map control, power weapon situation. All right. That is old school Halo. When it comes to the aesthetics, if you look at like the plainness of the enemy armor and stuff like that, that's all reminiscent of Halo 1. Even
the plastic trees. and the Mega
Even
Block
the
Mountains.
exploration.
Yeah,
Can I finish, dude?
No, you gotta
Yo,
dunk.
Even with the exploration, because if you go back, if you remember playing Halo 1 for the first time and seeing that world expand right in front of you, the first thing you thought about is, oh shit, where am I gonna go? Oh, what's over that way? What's over that way? And that's exactly why they built this game the way they did.
I didn't
right?
get, and I get exactly what you're saying, but
what
I
about
didn't really
what
get that
about
feel.
the BR? About the BR mode.
I've never heard
that's-
anything about the BR
Well,
mode.
the BR was
Yeah,
a bit
but,
of a, it's a rumor.
Oh, well, let me educate you a little
Okay,
bit.
go
So
ahead.
the official Japanese Halo Infinite site
it
under,
labeled. I heard. Never mind. I heard this. It,
it
labeled the game
it
as
labeled
a battle
it under
royale.
as Battle Royale.
Yeah, that's a
which has
mistake
been-
that an employee could make. But I'm not. Look,
Well,
Yeah.
also there's also Colin Moriarty, a very trusted person in the industry, as you know, worked for
yeah.
IGN and stuff, said that they were actually going to announce the BR mode a couple years ago, but then when there was such a lukewarm reception to the Battlefield BR that was announced, they pulled that back.
And also,
so they
Halo
decided
fans
to
have
hold
said
off.
like, we don't want a BR. They've been saying it on Reddit. They've been saying it on Waypoint. They've been saying it everywhere that they can. They don't want a BR. So maybe they were developing one and then dialed it down.
I think
maybe
BR
they still are.
I think BR.
Maybe they still are, and they're gonna wait to see if people want it, and they're gonna keep it, on a back burner. But
I think BR is a very, very good idea if you're going with a
I think so,
free-to-play
too.
I think
model.
so too.
Free to play model. Viper XT says it took 9 years for Sony to get to the last, the Last Guardian done. 6 years for The Last of Us 2. Cyberpunk 2077 has been 8 years. I think it's been longer than that. Halo at 5 years is just fine to be delayed. Viper, no one's really arguing with the delay. Valentin, I want to say thank you so much. Valentin,
When was The Last of Us 2 introduced? I mean, it's not when the last one ended that they started right on the next one. They went into Uncharted 4.
Right.
Uncharted 4 came out in 2016?
2015.
Yeah,
2015? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I think everybody would be cool with the delay if it wasn't going into a brand new system.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's a console launch. It's a launch.
The problem that I have with the delay isn't that the delay itself, because that game clearly needed it, and it's going to be good for the game. It's probably delayed for a year. Like, let's be real. That game is a mess. It's going to be delayed till next holiday. They're not going to release that in the middle of summer. So, and people are still working from home. Like, when is that going to stop? Probably not till next year sometime.
Mm-hmm.
So, it could be, we could see multiple delays with this game. The main problem that I have, just as somebody who was a huge Xbox fan, is because everybody keeps throwing stuff in my face like, well, they got the services. They got Game Pass. What a value, right? I get value. Okay, well, listen, let's talk about this value for a real quick second. It's $120 a year just for the standard $10 a month Game Pass. It goes up significantly if you're doing the $15 a month. Now, you're paying that. Let's say you prepaid the $120 for this year. Okay. Hold on. Let's say you paid that $120, or you did a couple years, and or whatever. You literally get 0 AAAs released from Microsoft. Isn't that the biggest value to me? The day and date big releases from Microsoft are what drive the value of Game Pass. So this year you get none, and we haven't had a AAA from Microsoft since September of 2019. So if Halo releases, and that's their next big AAA at the end of 2021, you're literally going over 2 years. People paying for Game Pass for 2 years, $240 in the basic, $360 for the $15 a month, and you're getting 0 AAAs in that value that people keep saying is value.
You're right. I want to jump in real fast. I just got to say, like, a lot of the conversation around Game Pass that I've heard since starting doing podcasts is that, like, they're not making money off of it. They're giving away in Pop-Tarts and this and that. And you do the $1 conversion deal. Holy moly, I spent $1 and I got 4 years of Game Pass Ultimate. Right? Like, I've been hearing that a lot. So maybe I'm again hedging the bet. I'm doing the damage control. Maybe they did that because they're like, we ain't gonna have shit for you guys, so just take it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
No,
that's
they
why
thought
the
they
dollar
were
deals
going to
in
have
place.
Halo,
Right.
dude.
They thought they were going to have Halo and just
Halo.
Halo, and then maybe the rebuttal to just having Halo was, well, whatever, you paid $1 for it. Be quiet and play Halo.
Because listen, I did that, right? And I bought, I bought multiple years of gold, which is still $60 a pop. So you're still paying hundreds of dollars, and for my $1 that takes me through 2022, I'll have 0 AAAs from them in 2 years. Right? I don't care if I'm paying for gold and they converted it over. That is not consumer friendly. That's not a good thing.
It's not a value. Yeah, it's not a value at that point. If that's not the value.
Like, the whole reason is to get their big first party stuff, and their big first party stuff doesn't look like it's coming until 2023 or later. And I think
now
that's
2023. Holy,
yeah. Well,
there's probably gonna be some stuff in the next 2 years, right?
Listen,
you're not getting Avowed and Hellblade.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You might get some of the smaller stuff. Like Greenberg just tweeted this out, right? And he's like, we've got, because that's what they do. They're like, we've got this great stuff, and this is what he said. He said
Greenberg makes everything too bombastic.
PSA, our Xbox Game Studio team has 5 new games launching back to back this month, all included in Game Pass: Grounded, Flight Simulator, Battletoads. Tell me why.
Grounded's good.
Wasteland 3. Now let me take you back to my year of PlayStation. Final Fantasy VII Remake, The Last of Us 2, Iron Man VR, The Ghost of Tsushima, and there's other stuff in there too. Dreams.
That's like $250 right there.
Exactly, but again, you don't have to buy all that stuff on at launch or whatever. But you know what I'm saying. But still, I did buy because those games are worthy of it. The games that they're listing here, they aren't worth buying. That's why, to me, that's the anti-value. No wonder they're in Game Pass. I don't, dude. I'm telling you, I think a lot of people don't think that these games are the reason why, in my opinion, they started putting their stuff in Game Pass day and date to begin with, because they had shit like State of Decay 2 unfinished. Like nobody's Crackdown 3. People weren't going to buy that game. At least if you put them in Game Pass. Until you put them finished. If you put them in Game Pass, right? You put them in Game Pass, and then people will at least maybe try them. Right, that's probably their thinking, right?
And you get an audience, you get a community.
That was their time. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't.
Like I mentioned,
but they considered releasing Halo in parts, right? And even if it had released and been kind of full, it wasn't going to launch complete. So they aren't opposed to that. And even when you look at stuff like Gears 5, that was broken at launch. You couldn't progress the game. Most people the XP, you couldn't collect I stopped playing.
Oh yeah, I remember that stuff.
Jack wouldn't do what he had to do. Right? He wouldn't go up and do what he had to do. I had to keep in Mooch. You had the same problem as I had. I didn't want to go back to that.
No, Act 2 I was there for a while because it was a glitch. I don't know what kind of bug that was. They finally fixed it, and when they did, I was just kind of you lost a little bit of interest. The hype was gone. One of the things in the gaming community we all do, especially anyone that's as invested as all we are, and including everybody in the chat, is that it's what have you done for me lately? You want to play the game that's hot right now. It doesn't mean you don't enjoy older games. It doesn't mean that at all. But you lost a little bit of the momentum, a little bit of the speed, and also where they took the Gears story, diverted a lot from the old Dom and Marcus days. Let me just do this real quick. Valentin with an outstanding super chat. I want to say thank you to Valentin. He says, I work in the medical industry and I've trained dozens of employees. I've had to separate the good from the bad, those who are talented from those who are not. It is all about talent, folks. I'm sorry to sound a bit mean, but perhaps 343 needs talent. And let me do this much. Let me get Sean in here. Sean, I want to, right? Sean, if you could please, you've heard a lot, right? You've heard from the audience, you've heard from the panel, and I'm really interested, and I'm a big fan of your channel. Where is it that you come from on this whole thing? I don't know if you've ever been the largest Halo fan or not, but I want to do you think this is something that impacts Microsoft, and where do you think the future of 343 is?
Oh, it totally impacts Microsoft. I mean, first off, when Halo Infinite was revealed during, Microsoft's big reveal of the Series X for first party titles, everyone thought that the game didn't look great. And I was one of those people, but I was able to sort of see past that. I was like, you know what? The game itself is going to be fun or whatever. But once we learned more about the game after that, graphics, whatever, that doesn't bother me. But hearing things such as games as a service, a 10-year plan for the game, that sort of shit was the stuff that was most worrying to me, because I don't see Halo as a game that needs to be a games as a service. And yes, there are tons of successful games that are games as a service, but they aren't your mainline, your staple, your heavy hitter franchises. Like if Zelda went as a games as a service, that would be stupid as fuck. If The Last of Us went as games as a service, I think that would be stupid as fuck. Like you have to protect your IPs, but obviously Halo Infinite did need a delay. But what does it mean for the Series X? It means there's no reason to buy it.
It's in dead water, RGC, pretty much.
Like Game Pass is great. I have Game Pass. I like Game Pass. I have no problems with Game Pass. Game Pass is not going to make someone go out and buy an Xbox Series X, because if Game Pass was making people go out there and buy consoles, the Xbox One would have done better. because that was really one of the biggest facets of the Xbox One was
Absolutely.
Game Pass.
Wasn't Game Pass introduced a little late into the Xbox?
Yeah, but I mean that shouldn't have been necessarily indicative of sales just sort of stagnating. If Game Pass was so great that so many people wanted to get it, they would have picked up an Xbox One.
By
the
now,
Xbox One,
I agree.
right? And I mean, the Xbox One you can get it on sale like all the time. Like, and even if you wanted the Xbox All Digital Edition just to play Game Pass, like, why was it that successful? So, to me, it really boils down, and this is going to sound bad, but it boils down to one thing, and really one individual that I have not liked for years.
Oh, shit.
And now I think people are finally starting to wise up to Phil Spencer, because you know what? At first, everyone was cool with Phil Spencer because he was taking on, quite an undertaking with the initial Xbox One thing. How many years of hearing this man say, this is going to be our best year ever. This is going to be our best year ever. This is going to be our best year ever. And then never delivering on it until you get to a point where you're like, hey, dude, you make video games. This is a video game company. You make video game consoles. You're not giving people a reason to get a Series X.
Can I jump in here real quick? I got to respond to that. And they just bought those studios in 2018, correct? Those initial studios.
And we still haven't seen a trailer or nothing for most of them.
No, we've seen trailers for most.
We saw teasers.
They may not have lived up to necessarily.
Not every single one. We don't know what the initiative.
Initiative or compulsion are making that haven't shown anything out of the 13.
It's rumored that they're doing Perfect Dark, but I guess my point is, before we make a complete judgment on it, I mean, what we've seen so far didn't live up to expectations, and I'm putting that nicely. Let's at least see the other studios that they didn't show for the July showcase before we get Phil Spencer the fuck up out of here. Can we please just see everything else first before we can write them off completely?
I think that's fair. I do think that's fair, because obviously games are coming. Hellblade 2 is coming. We all know that, but it's just. The thing that worries me is that it's going to be, that's going to be a big game for the Xbox Series X. But the problem is the Xbox Series X, and people say, launch sales aren't really important. Like, bullshit. They are important because they give you that initial momentum. You want people getting your console on day one. You want people to be excited for your console on day one, especially when your main competitor, whether you want to admit it or not, is also releasing a new console this holiday season. I just don't see. I don't see why. I mean, I'm obviously going to buy a Series X because I talk about video games, but I don't see why the average consumer would want to buy an Xbox Series X over a PlayStation 5 unless A, they have kids that just want a video game system and they can't find a PS5, or the Series X is somehow, some way substantially cheaper than the PlayStation 5, which I don't really foresee happening, but strange things have happened.
RGT, hold up. That's the exact point.
Talking about that.
I was going to bring that point up. That was the exact point that I was going to bring up. The Series S, which we know the name of it now, the Series S was rumored by a few people who, I ain't going to say I'm not considering I'm supposed to, but it was rumored to be at such a low price that it was almost like, yo, how could you not buy that? And let's not forget, listen, I know Halo is not coming out, but the reason why the Xbox brand won't suffer as much is because most of the people who play games, they play third-party games. They play 2K, they play Madden. All that shit.
90% of them.
That's big facts. And most of those people are still going to buy and play those games. And I'll make this real quick. I went to GameStop to get my Spider-Man PS4 Pro Edition. Y'all know what else came out that night? NBA 2K. Y'all know how many people were standing in line for that Spider-Man PS4 Pro Edition? My black ass, and that was it. I was like, it was just me. I was like, yo, ain't nobody else getting Spider-Man? And a lot of people was like, nah, like, we want 2K. So a lot of that third-party stuff does matter. And look, Xbox will be fine in regards to that. And my fault, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had to get it.
And another
so do
thing,
y'all
real
see
quick.
third-party deals being the thing for them then at the start?
They need to be. We keeping it together. They need to be.
Hopefully there are some, but it looks like the other guys on the other side of the aisle are snatching up every single one they can. Yeah. So there might be.
Did y'all hear about the one with GTA? GTA is supposed to come by?
GTA and Final Fantasy 16.
Let me say this much though before we get back. That's another subject. But it was funny. Somebody brought up cheaper price, and I just want to throw this volleyball up in the air, and you guys can spike it if you want. But I heard that, possibly Microsoft's going to combat the issue they had with Halo with a lower price Xbox Series X. Here's the thing. I think RGT said it, and Hustle, you made a point, but I want to say something. When you said you were in line getting Spider-Man and everybody else was there for 2K, that's fine. But let me tell you something. Spider-Man did a decent job being like the #1 best-selling, I believe, first party from Sony this year. And when it comes down to it, let me say this much: if the Xbox Series X is $100 cheap, let's just say hypothetically, if the Series X is $100 cheaper than the PS5, if that's I don't think it'll be that much, but if it is, you got to look at what's coming out. You've got, and I'm not saying you like these games, but please hear me out. Godfall, Deathloop, Spider-Man. Okay, right there alone, before you even get to what they're going to show in their August showing, right? Because we said we're going to give Phil another chance for what he's going to show in August. You know, Sony's got more to combat him with as well. Right there, just coming out of exclusive content when I take the box home, I know that I'm going to go home and play games that are dedicated to the PS5, play on next-gen hardware. Even if it's $100 less, the same things that are going to come out of the Xbox Series Xbox day one, I already can play on my Xbox One X. I don't need the Xbox Series. So
except
the $100
for games
cheap,
like Medium.
The Medium doesn't come out on launch day. It's going to be later on, which is fine. Maybe a month later or something like
Really?
that.
Because I saw.
Yeah, I've heard that
No, it's funny. The medium's not even exclusive. Permanent exclusive.
It's not a permanent exclusive. But that's okay. But neither's Deathloop and probably Godfall.
Yeah,
so
neither is
fine.
Deathloop.
Right? No, I agree.
Godfall.
I thought that the Medium said December. That's why I'm saying I thought it was coming out like a month later. My point being is that $100
first party is slim on both systems
it
for
is.
the launch.
It is, but I want to
incredibly
Cam.
slim.
I want to answer.
Nobody's saying that.
When you can say Spider-Man.
Everybody,
yeah, you can say Spider-Man, and it's great for marketing. But when you look at how they built the game, come on, bro.
Dude, you're splitting hairs when you're bringing up. You just brought up the Medium, which is going to be. But by the way, I'm going to point this out right now. Spider-Man is going to be a longer game than the Medium, and people keep harkening back to the Medium. Like
I don't talk about the
Medium.
Who
cares?
The Medium is going to be a good game, but nobody outside of hardcore gamers knows what the Medium is.
Well, they don't have the name Spider-Man on the Medium.
And it's not even a physical disc. People are going to go buy a PS5 and that damn copy of Spider-Man. Nobody's going to go buy a Xbox Series X. And
the physical disc argument, that doesn't, like, the way digital games sell now, that doesn't, like, hold any water.
It doesn't matter if somebody's going to pick this stuff up.
Mooch was going to ask me something. I'm sorry.
But hold on. If you're going to pick something up, it does, because you're going to say, give me that copy of Spider-Man, or I'm going to get Spider-Man.
If you're buying a digital one, a copy of Spider-Man is a coaster.
Well, look, if I'm going there and I'm like, okay, I see a PS5, I see an Xbox Series X. Now let me see the games that are out here on display and what's different. They're both going to have the exact same stuff, except for one's going to have Spider-Man. Okay? Mm-hmm. Like, and one is synonymous with a good time with PlayStation. And let me point out this other thing that somebody else brought up earlier. Xbox has literally had Game Pass for years. They've literally had the cheapest console for years, the most powerful console for years, Play Anywhere for years. You know, this xCloud shit for a year, right? None of this stuff has helped them. Why would anybody in their right mind think that any of this shit is going to help them next generation when they're starting off with no exclusives and probably none for at least the first couple of years unless Halo can come out?
That's why delaying Halo was such a rough call for the Xbox division.
That thing's going to be so
because when I know they're not fighting. When it came down to it, and you look at first party, yes, the name Spider-Man does sell, but when it comes down to it, if the Halo kind of like reveal was everything that people thought it was going to be, Halo would be right up there with Spider-Man in terms of first party content coming out.
But
all right, so that's why. Yeah, but
right.
No, that's why that's why they had. That's what they were planning on right there when it comes to their first party. And Halo is one of the most played franchises. And that's why it was such a tough call.
They launched the Xbox One X. They launched the Xbox One X to criticism because they literally only launched it with a Forza Motorsport. Here, you fast forward 3 years later, and they're launching with less than that.
Which
how the hell does that happen?
Which was definitely not intended, and like
bad leadership
got them there. And also, I want to say we are going through one of the most unprecedented times in human history with people trying to work remotely and making a video game. Unfortunately, is not easy.
And Cam,
they don't have anything. They don't have anything else announced though either. It's
I think Cam's right. I think Cam's
making
right.
Video games not easy, and making it from home at a distance where you can't sit together in a room, in a meeting room, and go, "What's wrong? What do we need to fix?" You got to call people. You got to talk on the mic. I can't hear what he's saying. You know, it's hard.
That might hold water.
That's the only thing. I'm not saying that's the only thing. You're right. There needed to be better leadership from the start. This should have been. It's Microsoft. It's the Xbox. It's Halo.
Listen, right? That might hold water if 343. if 343 has delivered a quality Halo experience so far, and they haven't.
And everybody's been saying this throughout the show. I'm gonna be the martyr. I think that they have twice. I think Halo 4 and 5 are good games.
Thank you.
Halo 4
Thank you.
They're not perfect. They're not Bungie good. Okay, sure, but 4 has an incredible single player.
That's what I like about Cam. I'm a big fan of Cam.
No,
Cam
speaking of
Halo,
right
it's not. How can it be facts when
it's one of the best ones in the franchise?
No, it's incomplete because the multiplayer was shit.
That's fine.
That's right. Speaking of the crap.
So incomplete, and then
It's
they
not
did Halo.
incomplete. The
Well,
game
that's
was
incomplete. If half of
like
it,
a part of it didn't mean the game was incomplete.
well, it was half of it because they obviously they didn't get the multiplayer down. Then they did Halo 5 where the campaign was shit.
The campaign's writing was bad and pacing was bad.
It had bad characters and boring characters.
The characters weren't bad. Buck is still in there. Buck's fantastic. Chief's in there. Blue team, the rest of Osiris team, not fleshed out the way they should.
I ask you a question. Are you in ownership of a cyberpunk chair by any chance? I'm just curious because I've been seeing these things getting passed around. But let me be serious for a second. So an incomplete Halo 4 was the multiplayer is genuinely looked at as bad and died off really quick. Halo 5 had incomplete. Halo 5 had a bad Halo. But listen, Halo 5 had what's well thought of as the least and most incomplete single player, and the multiplayer launched without Forge and key components to make a game a Halo game.
It launched without Big Team Battle. It launched without.
So it launched incomplete, and then Master Chief Collection launched before that under 343's guys and was so broken.
With very bad and broken connectivity. Yes.
3 years.
Not a good resume.
They didn't update it. So again, my point stands, and
they just weren't good at updating it. It's not like it sat there without being updated.
Okay. No, they didn't fix it. They when the
December and January and about February.
One at a time.
When the Xbox One X was coming out, they're like, we don't have any content. We better go back and fix this. We'll put it 4K and fix the multiplayer. You still couldn't get into multiplayer matches in that thing. So it wasn't until they actually fixed it.
Honestly, personally, I didn't have a problem with Chief Collection after probably when that game came out, November 2014. It was probably like March of 2015. If other people did,
I did.
I did.
Yeah, but I didn't have a problem with it, and that's like, yes, it was broken. But you're saying they didn't update it? They did.
I'm saying it wasn't fixed.
Well,
they just left it broken.
Let's put it this way, Crap. I think the updates weren't a large enough update to be noticeable. I think that Cam's right. They were working on it, but it wasn't
noticeable. They were trying. They just weren't good at it. Like we've been saying throughout the show, they don't have talent. They don't have guidance. What we're trying to push here is they're completely fucked. And what I'm trying to say is they're not. It's not like they're just sitting there not doing anything. It's not like they put out like 1 out of 10 games.
It doesn't. But, the employees
those aren't good Halo games.
The employees that filled out the recent forums and those things were all read, and I heard a few YouTubers that do some great videos on it. You saw that there's a lack of leadership. The higher executives don't know what's going on at the working level, and a lot of the stuff is outsourced, and the outsourced software engineers are not communicating with the in-house, and then when they get that code and it comes over, they almost have to kind of debug and work it through. It's an absolute cluster, and there's many people that are saying this in the industry. It's not me. Please don't think it's me. I'm just trying to say there is a mess at 343, and you have to blame, RGT has said it tonight, Crap said it tonight, and Cam, believe it or not, even though you've done a great job on the defense, you've actually said it yourself a couple of times. That
because I'm not trying to say they're perfect.
Cam,
I know that
I love your take on stuff. That's why I truly love your opinion in gaming. Let me just read a few of these super chats that I'm falling behind. Mr. Miracle says, Xbox tied their vision to Game Pass, and their profits were flat. Sony and Nintendo stayed traditional and set quarterly records for each company. There is something to that, guys. When we keep thinking the future is what Microsoft's doing. Well, maybe we're not at the future yet. Neil Augusto says, Sony is fine wine gaming, Xbox is grape juice. Neil, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
No, they're the boxed wine.
Yeah, they're the Franzia. Yeah, apparently. I don't know what's going on there. I got a couple here that I've completely fallen behind. Sir X-Man says, Halo needs to advance like the new Tombs, I believe he means Tomb Raiders. That's all that we're asking for, something that looks better than the original, but still feels like Halo. TrueWiddy's here, and he says, the problem is Halo is going to be 10 years. So what if the generation is 5 years? You're 2-gen old game. Obviously, they can't 500 mil.
Digital Foundry brought that up. They're like, because they did that yesterday or the day before that. They're like, so, it doesn't make sense to support the current gen on Halo Infinite if it's going to be a 10-year plan, because then you're dragging, that Xbox One stuff with you for the further 10 years. It's ridiculous,
Well,
Agreed.
that kind of goes with like when Phil Spencer said about supporting previous gen, he said 1 to 2 years. Now, I think that would be earlier than he would have wanted, especially with a game like this, to get more people in and playing, but it still falls within the 1 to 2 years that was said about supporting the Xbox.
2 days before their July 23rd event, he said a couple of years. I know he might have said previously 1 to 2 years, but he really reiterated a couple of years with the support.
I think he was just stating like the longest time at that point, because he already said 1 to 2 years. And I'm not a professional psychologist. I don't have a piece of paper, stamped saying officially and stuff like that. But once you say 1 to 2 years, then the next time it's brought up, you'd be like, yeah, a couple of years. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing, though. I see
good messaging, right?
I see a ton of people asking, drop the Xbox One version now. Delay it for a year. Drop the Xbox One version.
You know what I really think is going to happen? And I got a lot of flack on Tick last night for saying this. I think if Halo's really a year out, the campaign is not going to be on Xbox One, and the free-to-play multiplayer and the multiplayer components will be on Xbox One as well, because there's no issue that anybody could have. Like you play Black Ops 2 right now on an Xbox One X with someone who's playing on a 360, it works fine. Like, yeah, there's differences in frame rate, and people can argue 120 frames. Those people would have an advantage over 60 frame people, but that there's still how many Xbox Ones sold? And like, let's just say it's like 45 million in homes right now. Let's say it's like 30, 25 interested in Halo. That's a lot of people that could play that game and shoot those Game Pass numbers up. If you want to rebuild Halo, take 100% advantage of the Series X, do that. Cool. But I think it's not a good look to
Cam,
entire
let me ask you a question, Cam. I agree with what you're saying to a far extent, but I think we're all sitting here saying that they're going to just revamp this. Xbox One is out. It's all for Series X, which we're all in favor of. And everyone's saying, you know what? They'll have this done by November 2021.
That's what I was saying last night on
You
TikTok.
agree? Like, I almost think it's going to be. I think it might even be March of 2022.
Mooch. If they're gonna cancel the Xbox One version, and do a version of Halo Infinite that takes 100% advantage, the SSD, all these things I don't understand, because I just go and slap my card down on the counter at GameStop.
I hear you.
Like, if they're gonna take 100% advantage of all this stuff, that game that we saw is done, and they have to build a new game. It might be 4 or 5 years out again.
That's what I'm trying to say. This might delay Halo more than we might think it may. Yes.
And also, you're taking Halo. You have now canceled Halo Infinite for the Xbox One, right?
Shout out to Optimus Code, who said something, and I'm hoping I'm using his words properly, but he said, Mooch, when you have to understand, when they start, the game starts before the actual inception of the game is way before even development begins, like the coding begins, right? It's way before. So it's
sitting in a room,
right? So if you're scrapping what we saw and they're going full Xbox Series X, they're back to the drawing board because what we saw incorporated Xbox One architecture, or you know what I mean? That had a deal. That was the lowest common denominator. Now the lowest common denominator will be the Series X.
Series S,
right? So Sergeant Salty Nuts here, he says nothing but facts from crap. Gemini J says, why does Xbox 448 have Stockholm syndrome? I don't know what he's on from Phil. And why does everyone keep lying on the PS5? It's making the PS5 look more attractive. Salty Nuts is back again. He says, Halo or not, Xbox will still sell terrible regardless. He's not a fan, apparently. Basement
I guess not.
Right? He says, hustle, the Xbox division is like the Washington Redskins, or Mooch might identify them as the New York Mets. Take it easy on the Mets.
Take it easy on the Washington football team. Sir.
They're also now Washington football teams.
Yeah,
right.
the Washington
Thank you.
Football team. Take it easy. I don't know if he knows that I'm from there.
They should just keep that name, Washington football team. That's it.
Hey, that W they have is pretty slick, man.
Sergeant Salty Nuts is back in. He says Xbox doesn't deliver on AAA games, yet Phil claims they make quadruple A games. Rich Kreiser, the great Rich Kreiser is there. He says the Xbox Nation is going to be really, really angry with you guys, especially a certain friend of you and Crap Mooch. The infomercials he's had all week have been getting crushed. I don't know what he's talking about, but thank you, Rich, for the super chat. Apex Alpha says, ponies talk Xbox greater than PlayStation, Xbox living in their heads rent-free. Apex, I know you don't agree with us, but I love that you're here anyway. Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Brap, he says, heard the higher-ups within Xbox did not even see the Craig demo prior to the July show.
Oh, that's bad.
And Sir
Well, you
X
could
Man-
tell you
ahead.
could tell they weren't. I mean, like they can try to spin it like we love it. He's our mascot. Like deep and down, they're like fuck.
Oh, they're pissed.
You know what I mean?
They're pissed.
Like just like the whole X-Bone thing.
Dude,
like
I
Phil
was
finally.
having fun with Craig. I even made a few
Yeah,
things.
but I
Craig,
mean-
even if like people want to use Craig maliciously, I love Halo, and I'm
I love
bummed.
Craig, yeah.
Craig's funny as hell. Like,
Oh yeah.
Oh, he is funny, but
Me,
I think
like-
Crap's
I'm like,
right. I think
damn,
they're
this is-
grinding their teeth.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
what
they
else
don't
could they
want-
do? You've got to, they wanted that. I heard like that it was going to be their showpiece, like the Halo Infinite was going to blow everything away we'd seen so far.
Well,
like,
all the
for
talk
either
we saw
console,
the week
man.
leading up to July 23rd, I was expecting to get like my eyes
Like
to,
Mooch,
melt.
looked like Mooch and Crap were putting it together for.
Yeah, it did
5
look like
years
a
or
Mooch and
something,
Crap
geez.
production, to be honest with you. Sir X-Man says, come on, Microsoft, forget to be over 60 million because consoles were sold out everywhere. You can't even buy one new anywhere. I think he's talking about the Xbox One X. Those are hard to find. And Rich Kreiser says, the almighty, Tim Dog. Shout out to Tim Dog. Tim Dog's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks, by the way. Listen, I got to be honest with you. I want to switch subjects, even though this is an amazing subject. But there is something really big going on out there. And I don't know how much you guys are... I've been talking to a couple guys in the panel, and they're like, I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. But I think it's really interesting, and that's the idea that Fortnite decided, and believe me, it didn't happen overnight because they had a promo and a video, and they put it in their video.
they had a
right?
Beautiful.
It was totally not. But there's pros and cons. This isn't just Fortnite is fighting the man and it's over. They say literally, if Fortnite was even to win, we the consumers would actually end up paying more, which kind of sucks. Because when you take a situation where Apple and Google would lose, they would still take that money that they're losing, and guess who pays for it? They would kind of surface that fee into something else we all pay for. So so Fortnite decided to go ahead and give a different way to pay through the currency program there, and they had a deal with Apple and Google, and I guess it was $9.99. Guys, correct me where I'm wrong here. I did read it, but I don't know if it's the V-Bucks or if it was for the Battle Pass, right?
It was the V-Buck purchase.
The V-Bucks, right? So it was $9.99 if you were buying it through Apple, but you could do a direct pay for $7.99. And it really helps the consumer there. And don't get me wrong, from the front page, it really does look like Epic is the good guys here. And you can see that they had this planned. But the one thing I want to say here before I open it up to the audience, and you guys can call me old school, but when you guys all go out and you buy your first home, or any home for that matter, and you go in and you look at the interest rates for the mortgage, right? And you get a, let's just say 4.5%. I don't know what it is currently, but whatever. Say 4.5%. You shake hands, you sign your document, this and that.
19%.
Well,
oh wait,
right?
no,
that's something else, right? But when you make that deal with the bank, okay, and then the next day it drops to 3.2% because just the way things go, you can't go back in there, and you can refinance and redo this, but it's going to cost you money. My point being is that you made a deal with the bank, and that also works in your favor too. If you signed in, it was 4.5, and then it spikes up to 7.5, you're locked in at 4.5. Epic had a deal here with these guys, and it is a store. So when you walk into your local grocery store or your local corner store, and you see Pepsi's and you see Coca-Cola, and you see Snickers bars and chips, well, they're buying those things off of those companies for, let's say, $1 a piece. I'm making this up. Well, they then put it on the shelf for $2, right? They have to make something. So when Epic's like, we're going to go ahead and give the customer for what it is, and these stores need to understand that they need to represent our prices. Well, someone's got to pay for their lights and their employees. We all think that Apple and Google and Microsoft are these big evil corporations, but they do. We sit here and say, come on, Mooch, you got to care for the devs, right? All these
Epic
people
tried to take over. They tried to stronghold and take over the thing that makes the most money in that game.
Right, but my point being is that Apple and Google and Microsoft have a lot of employees that have families too. You know what I'm saying? So we can't sit here and go, oh, look, it's all for the devs. Let's go for whatever. Well, those devs work for Microsoft and Apple and Google. So a lot of times when you're saying this, we're like, no, let's get them in. They're paying for a lot of people's well-being. So I don't necessarily know whose side I'm necessarily on today, but right now it does seem odd that that Epic went out and did what they did, and it was definitely a planned attack. As you can see, they had a whole campaign promo for it. I'll start with Sean. Sean, I know that, and I apologize. I'll get to you as well.
Damn, man.
I was about to say because I'm ready.
Oh no, please, no, guys.
Yo,
I already know where this is going.
This is a big deal. But I will start real quick. Like Sean, I know that you've read about it, and I know that you've definitely talked to people in the industry about it. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong here, but where do you stand on how you initially read the information and as you saw the lawsuits kind of come to fruition?
It definitely, I mean, when it first came out, it was like, oh, okay, Apple's a scumbag.
Yep.
And then you started to read more about it and you're like, oh, well, maybe they're not. And now, it almost seems like Epic just thinks that, Fortnite, and it might be that Fortnite is that big that they can, just do whatever the fuck they want. But, it's a very strange situation because really at the end of the day, it's $2 billion companies like slap fighting each other. And I'm just kind of like, what the fuck? Like, Jesus.
It's a great picture.
I mean, that's really what it boils down. That's what it boils down to me. It's just like, it's just weird, petty shit.
No, hold on. It is not petty under any circumstance, and I'll explain to you why, GT. Listen, it looks like Epic tried to like weasel out of paying that 30% that they would have owed Apple, right? If they would have done this to Steam,
no. I meant it was petty in the sense of how they're doing it in like the public.
Yeah.
Okay, my fault. Okay, well,
RGT, all, that's. Oh, go ahead. So
no, well, I was going to say first of all, I'm here for the pettiness. Like when those $1 billion corporations fight, like I like to see stuff like that. But no. When they tried to weasel their way out of paying that 30%, that sets a dangerous precedent. Because if they can do that to Apple, right, then who's to say that the next company can't do that to Steam? Or who's to say the next company can't do that? You understand what I'm saying?
That's hustle.
That's a deal in itself. And as I was just reading this, yeah, like that's wait. If Epic finds a way to win this, that's gonna be crazy. That'll change everything. If
first of all,
Epic does find a way to win this,
Epic's not gonna win this.
I know that.
Second, so the funny thing is, this is all theory crafting. This is all
Forte gushing right now. He gushing.
When I saw this, I laughed so hard because I was like,
that trailer made me laugh.
When I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god!" Okay,
I could not believe that feels like a fake thing.
So this is all me just theory throwing stuff at the wall. Wondering why would this happen? Who owns minority shares in Epic?
Tencent.
Okay, Tencent. They own 40% of Epic, so we know that a decision like this had to have went through Tencent. Tencent also wants to get into the mobile department.
Oh shit!
How do you kind of trick? Because this is a parlor trick. How do you technically take the biggest install base, because people don't realize that mobile is by far the biggest install base it comes to Fortnite? How do you take the biggest part of Fortnite and make them turn instantly against the other side? Because let me tell you, when this happened, my daughter. It was an update on the game. She walked into my room while I was recording the video. It was like, what just happened? I can't stand Apple. Apple is the devil. That's all she kept saying. She was I can't believe what Apple just did. They took it off children. They are literally mobilized. This is what they're literally doing. They're mobilizing their install base and telling them, and literally had a campaign ready as soon as Apple came out and banned them. And guess what? Not even 2 hours later, Android did it, and they had the same thing for Android. Right. So to me, this is them literally saying they know they're not, because trust me, they know they're not going to win this. But what happens if when they do lose this, they can literally cause this is going to be a long time in the making. This isn't going to be resolved anytime soon. What happens if they come back and say, you know what, we're making our own thing, like they did with the Epic Store? What's if they just make their own thing, and now we're going to say we're bringing Fortnite only to this? And now you got people that's going to be moving over to, maybe it's not Tencent that has the actual service, but what happens if it's a phone that they bring out that's only is available. That only has the Tencent store, and that's the only place you can get Fortnite on it. Because trust me, Tencent already makes mobile phones as it is right now. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, dog, Tencent owns 40% of this. No, there's no way this happened without them knowing about it. And I was like real up in the air about it until I saw the marketing hit as soon as they got banned on Apple. It was literally like a switch got flipped, and they were all the way in there. They started sending out all the legal documents that you can see. They literally filed a 64-page legal document that was already handcrafted. Shout out to Hogue Law, because Hogue Law did the video on that. So if you don't know, go check it out. He did a really good breakdown of it. But literally just went over the whole thing, and it is very elaborate in what they are going after. But guess what? They're not going to win. But I think it's just the idea of getting their people to understand that they're the bad ones. We're the one. And plus, they gave you a discount. They did it. They gave everybody a 20% discount before this even happened. Everybody got it. So now they look like oh, they gave us a discount.
Yep.
Apple banned them. Android banned them. They put out a marketing campaign saying we're suing them and hashtag free Fortnite, all this stuff at the same time, not even in a 12-hour window. This all happened.
I gotta
you know the funny thing about this game is, though, this is the only game that got away with charging you $80 for a fucking cosmetic item.
Wait, huh? What happened?
Yeah, $80. What was the $80 cosmetic?
Like a suit or something like that. Was like a suit.
It was I forget what suit it was, but it was a suit, the hat, the glasses, the umbrella.
Yeah. So what you paid $2.99 for in Call of Duty, you know, like the little $5 skins on your gun, you had to pay $80 for in cosmetics for Fortnite.
I don't know. Call of Duty has some $25 skin stuff that I'm just like, I don't.
Man, hold up. Look, they had to pay Travis Scott some type of way. So y'all pay for that. Yo, that's $80. Blood. Yo, I can't
$80 though. For a hustle. $80.
I'll play that game for free, dog. I don't.
I was saying though, you paying $80 out your pocket for some.
Well, the thing is though, let me ask you a question.
Come on, and think about it. And think about the kids who play this shit. You know, the ones who be stealing their parents' credit cards and buying this shit.
Well, what about this though?
That's the even worse part.
What is the situation that's next on the table that they're saying though? Is that Microsoft and Sony might, you know, because now Epic might go after them too. You know what I mean? Because Microsoft and Sony are making a cut on the money as well. So they that's you don't want to take it off console too, do you?
I don't think they're gonna go after them because they don't have they already have their ecosystem when it comes to a platform, which is PC. They're not going to come out and make a console. But the difference is with China is one of the biggest developing countries when it comes to video games and stuff, and Tencent is housed there. Yes. If they can get their mobile platform, not even a platform, just their mobile phone service or their phone itself in that ecosystem, it's an easy transition to get Fortnite over there because you already set the expectation that Apple and Android don't want us.
Exactly. Mooch, that's what I was that's what I was implying earlier. Like if Epic does find a way to get it out of this, who's to say that I said they wouldn't go after Steam. I didn't even think about Xbox and PlayStation or Nintendo. So who's to say that they won't go after them to try to get up out of there too, man? This is setting a dangerous precedent, man.
It's very dangerous. You just
got to be careful. We got to be careful.
That's why I think everyone was saying, you know, and I think RGT nailed it. That's exactly my sentiment. I was like, wow. I'm like, Epic's going for the man. They're going for Apple, Google's throat. And then I read a little bit further and deeper into it, and I'm like, this is not a good thing if Epic actually wins. I don't think in the long run. In the long run, it's really not. But you know, then something. Well, it was originally pitched to me as Mooch. This might be the greatest way to advertise your product. You know what I mean? Because like everybody like was right now. I want to play Fortnite all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Out of nowhere. And shout out to Lozam in the super chat. He said the same thing. It's China that he thinks that the whole 10-cent idea. So Forte. Outstanding point on your part. Manny TV says they won't go after Sony. So Sony invested $250 million into Epic. So, yeah, well, that's I think Hustle kind of nailed the actual true reason that they probably wouldn't go after them. You know, I don't want to go back and forth on this, but I think we kind of hit that one. I want to discuss it's a little bit more on Insomniac came out recently, and I know Bit. You know, Bit. I think I'm going to start with you on this one because you've done videos, like not necessarily pertaining to the information that came out today and yesterday, but you've done numerous videos on what's going to be the Miles Morales game. And, you know, listen, I look, I'm the first one to say it. Like, I was wrong when when Insomniac came out and did Spider-Man. I've been playing Spider-Man games for a very long time, as has everybody on this panel. And until this game that came out on the PS4, myself, I'm only speaking for me. The other Spider-Man games, I'm sorry, they just didn't do it for me. It was swing to the left, swing to the right. You guys know the song. My point being, right? You guys know it real, right? I used to have a damn tambourine when I did it in the back of the day. But my point being, right? Thank you.
That's what's up.
Right? But the thing about it is this game is something special if you're a Spider-Man fan. And I thought it was fantastic. Now you have Miles Morales taking the story. They're saying it's going to be a full arc story. And now you're still hearing a lot of people say, well, it's DLC. Here's my thing. Whenever you take a console home at launch, okay, let's look at last generation for PS4, right? We had, there was Killzone. I'm not a Killzone fan. And then you had Knack and Resogun. I got news for you. Right off the bat, Miles Morales is already way better.
Already better
right?
than even the PS4 and the Xbox One launch lineup. We don't even have to mention Series X because there isn't a launch lineup.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So when Insomniac came out and they showed that picture, I think that, they were, and I don't know if you guys saw it, I put it in the description here for the show. They wanted to show those ray traced puddles. I don't know if you guys noticed it.
Yeah, they confirmed it was. Too.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Bit, what was your take on not only what you saw in the past 24 to 48 hours, but what's been your take on this whole thing since the showing of Miles Morales?
I mean, shit. Like, I know a lot of people were saying that it was DLC. That's kind of been the trend for this. But the same thing came to my mind. It was like, remember Infamous? I'm not. Was it Infamous?
Infamous Second Son.
Infamous Second Son. Remember First Light? A lot of people said that was just a glorified DLC, but it actually had the full world. It had a lot of playability in it. That's what I was kind of getting those type of vibes from it. It was going to be its own separate thing. Now we haven't gotten confirmation that we're going to get a remake of the PS4 version with this, but it'd be dope if they did include that and they gave you like a different, the same view that we got from the first demo for the game. That'd be crazy. But again, my thoughts were it was just again, I'm hyped for it like crazy. Especially since they said that the story is immediately taking off straight from the ending of the DLC in the first one.
Yep.
So it's literally going to be great. I can't wait to see it. They confirmed invisibility. They confirmed that he does have the Bioshock ability. They kind of showed you a little snippet of how he possibly got the powers. So it's in the trailer. So
I just get excited. I get excited when you go home and you take a console home and you pop the game in. Look at me. I'm showing my age. Right?
And you just see that,
popping nothing.
that
We're clicking. Right. Right. But like,
so when you see the load screen, you know what's up.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, it's exciting, man. And I've been doing this for generations now, and that's the thing. And that's one of the things that kind of that was the biggest hurt for me with Halo was I'm nowhere near a Halo fan like Xbox 448. But I can tell you this much: I'm a Halo fan in the fact.
Dude,
that
I'm a huge Spider-Man comic book fan as well.
You are,
yeah,
Xbox,
and it's funny because before we even got into where we are now with the new screenshot, them showcasing the ray tracing with the puddles. I remember I made a theory. I was like, "Yo, dude, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have Kraven the Hunter in the new movie," and they literally just confirmed that Kraven the Hunter is gonna be in the next Spider-Man film. So I'm wondering who's gonna be the main villain. Like in Spider-Man 2, because you already know this is kind of like a small taste to get you into the new one, which is Spider-Man 2. So when we get there, who's going to be the main villain? Because I don't think it's Mr. Negative, because they already used that. They need somebody else.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, and that'd be crazy. If they shocked you with Morbius, which is the vampire guy. That'd be cool.
They don't know about that, man.
They don't know about Morbius. Morbius is a vampire. That would be like a cool horror like theme to it. But one thing I took away from this too, though, because they said invisibility. I don't know if y'all remember in the comics. Well, if you remember in the comics, Venom, he is invisible. He can go invisible, and he can like sneak up a Spider-Man without his spider sense going off. I'm wondering where he can learn that ability from, since we got Miles here. Maybe they're going to use Miles to push Venom at the end of the DLC.
I hope so.
And that's the thing. And I just, when you say that kind of stuff, that gets me excited. And, Xbox being like the big comic book fan, I was not necessarily the biggest comic book fan, but everything that's going on in the MCU and everything like that just got me amped up. I mean, I did Platinum Spider-Man on PS4, and then I got halfway through the DLC. I'm going to continue that because, like you're saying, Bit, it is a continuation. So I'm going to finish that half of the second chapter, and then I have to finish the whole third part of the DLC, but I thought I'm myself personally, I think that you have Insomniac coming out, and I think they're being very respectful, but they are reading what everybody's writing, okay? And I think that they're kind of like, no, you guys don't understand. Like, we're busting our ass. Like, this is going to be an amazing game. And Insomniac might be one of the biggest. I said this on prior shows. I'll say it again. I think of all the teams that were acquired between Microsoft and Sony, I do think, in my personal opinion, I think that Insomniac was the biggest and greatest pickup.
I just want to jump in and say something about that. I think Insomniac and then Obsidian with Microsoft. Those are the two craziest ones that happened.
Absolutely.
You know the crazy thing is
Ninja
Sony
Theory
paid
was
less.
big, but
Sony paid less for what's the name?
Yeah. Hey, that's that we got history deal, right? Like,
yeah, they only paid $250 million, which is insane.
They got them for the low. They definitely
got them on the low, and
that's
really
because Insomniac was like, we know we're gonna make cash, so it doesn't matter. We're okay.
That's true. I mean, that is true.
But I don't want to like diminish it or reduce it in any way. That's good that they got them at that price. And it, like I was saying, it's
I want
exciting.
to see more though. I would like to see more. Like, I'm wondering if they're trying to like expand, like, you know, they
new
did
IP. That's always the exciting thing. Right?
Well, not just that. I'm wondering if, like, with Spider-Man, are they trying to do like what they're doing with the movie, you know, Into the Spider-Verse? I'm wondering if Spider-Gwen might be introduced. Yeah, I'm wondering if she'll be introduced with Miles' part.
Like, if you take that into the Spider-Verse, do you understand that's like an infinite amount of possibilities for games? It's an infinite amount of possibilities for games. Like, it goes on and on. I want to say shout out to Viper XT's back in the super chat. He says, what if the battle between Apple and Epic is a plan to hype up the new season of Good versus Evil in Fortnite coming in less than 10 days, and Apple and Google are in on it with Apple, the bad guy? Let me tell you something right now. I highly doubt that.
Apple not in on this, man.
Yeah, I don't think
Apple's not in on it, but they're gonna use it, right?
I don't know if you guys ever heard Tim Cook's humor is not in that reign. I don't think that's his forte. SaneYou.com, he says, lies that PS5 not hitting 4K 60. We should talk about that. Crap, I know you were big on this all day.
That already got debunked, by the way.
That got debunked. So, the original rumor, I think, that came out was saying something along the lines of that Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil.
It's Resident Evil Village.
Right?
Yeah, the guy said that Resident Evil Village was having problems. It could only do 1080 60 on the PS5, while it was already 4K 60 on the Xbox Series X, which was a little bit funky because that Resident Evil engine that they're using is the same one they use for Resident Evil Remake 3, which did 1600p 60 frames on the PS4 Pro. So, you know, you automatically start to think something's a little bit funny there. And then later he said, he was saying something. Oh, I was going to say, yeah. So you know that was kind of funky as it was. You know what I mean? If the Pro is going to run that end, you know, I mean, I understand that it's the next generation, but it is. But it was nonsense to begin with.
I trust that person because that's Dust Golem, and Dust Golem only talks about Resident Evil. I don't know if you've ever been to his Twitter page,
but he admitted. Hold on, but he admitted. Hold on, no, he admitted that he didn't know what he was really talking about. That this was like months and months ago that he had heard something like that, and he also admitted that he was only doing that because he wanted it to even things out. He wanted to.
I'd like to see where he said that he was doing that. I didn't see that.
He said that he was just doing that to even things out after bad Xbox news came out. Yeah. So he got removed. He got removed from moderation at Reset Era. He apologized. Blah blah blah. I mean, it is what it is. It's like, look. You know, everybody's got to be smart about this kind of stuff because we know that what the PlayStation 5 is and Xbox Series X is. We know the Series X is powerful, but we also know between Xbox and PlayStation, this is the least amount of difference between any two consoles that they've released
ever.
So yeah, so I mean that really says a lot. Like, and also like I get it, Xbox fans. I was a huge Xbox fan. The stupid 720p versus 1080p stuff, I get it. That sucked. But you're not going to have the same situation next generation. This is not happening. No matter how bad people want it to happen, it's not. You got DLSS, smart. You got all that kind of stuff going with this stuff. Well, even that Unreal Engine 5 demo was using that. Okay, so you got a 1440p image, look as good as a 4K image. Plus, you'll be able to get 60 frames and ray tracing, perfect. You take a bunch of strain off the GPU, CPU. This is how they're going to do that too. They're going to do native 4K. They're going to do the 1440p. They're going to do. I mean, they're going to use a bit of everything. But I think that it was a little bit, kind of just because Xbox got bad news to try to come out with this. I thought that was kind of lame or whatever. But it is what it is.
Was he a previously trusted individual?
Yes, very much so.
Only with some Capcom stuff.
Capcom and the Silent Hill remake, stuff like that on the leaks. He was breaking.
Wow. Well, that kind of damages him in that sense.
It's a bad reason to sort of lose that credibility.
Why would you put yourself out there like that and go, I'm gonna just give false information?
I want to try to even it. Because then that's weird to me. Because with someone who has rumors that they can tell to us and they're a trusted source and they can leak, then if you're trying to even think. If you're leaking stuff and lying then to try to even out like the sides, that feels like you're weirdly enough like playing God. Like you don't need to they trust me, so I'm gonna lie to try to change
advantage of your position.
That's very gross. That's very gross.
Let me here's a good question for you guys, and this is a game that's kind of going a little bit under the radar, especially for me. I saw it, I know what it is. But Master Altney says, what do you all think about Quantum Error, and when do you think it'll come out? That's that I like to call it the Alien game, right? And guys, correct me if I'm wrong. That's the one where you're basically on that ship, and there's all kinds of creatures. They look just like Alien to me from the
people tried making up stuff about that game too.
Right.
Somebody on Twitter
confirmed that it's 4K 60, or it was higher than 4K.
Like I have the quote. Somebody's like, "It's a Quantum Error is a corridor shooter struggling to get 4K 30 on the PS5. Is trying to get 4K, which means downgrade to optimize." And Quantum Error's developer responded, "Not sure who this quote comes from, but it didn't come from us. Quantum Error currently running at 4K 65 to 70 frames per second unoptimized. We'll be hitting our goal of 4K 60, and they've already confirmed ray tracing and such on that game.
He hits a corridor point too, and he goes, "And we're more than just corridors."
Just corridors, laughing out loud. Yeah. So I mean, like this is the kind of stuff. The kind of stuff, for whatever reason, people are sort of doing a little bit of the stuff that happened to Xbox last gen.
Yeah.
Where they're like, "Oh, can you believe?" I mean, most of this stuff has already been debunked. Remember, somebody made a comment on a YouTube page about the PS5 overheating because they overclocked it. Okay. And people ran with that. That was totally debunked. We've actually only ever seen stuff running on PlayStation 5. There's not been a new game running on the Xbox Series X that we've seen 3.5 months from launch, right? Like PS5 is showing us multiple games, a demo running on it, all good. Okay, so people are obviously, for whatever reason, they want it to be more competitive or whatever. I think that starts with Phil and Microsoft. If they want to be competitive, they'll be competitive. Like in one breath, he's like, "We're not in competition with Sony," and then on the other thing, they're holding their price because they don't want to get undercut.
Yeah.
So like, which one is that?
That's not up to a leaker to decide that, right? That's what we're talking about. Like, it's not up to a leaker or any of us to decide that.
Like it's easy to say, look, the Xbox is going to do that too. If you think Xbox is going to do everything at native 4K, you're probably going to be disappointed because they're obviously probably going to use some tricks and stuff too. It makes sense to do that with the machine learning and the DLSS that both these consoles have. Like, save yourself some of the GPU if you're going to get an image that's just as good, and then you can add extra stuff. So that makes the most sense. Like, people are getting just because, and I feel like it's just because people were pissed off at the resolution stuff last gen. This isn't a 1080p versus 720p stuff. It's not. It's not the same thing. It's like get out of that mindset. It's a new generation. You're going to have the most powerful box from the start. No need to go back to that. Worry about, in my opinion, worry about the games and less a little bit about this kind of stuff, because you'll be happier that way. Like, to see, and I was mentioning this earlier when I first started doing like the YouTube stuff. I was a big Xbox guy, man. People used to make fun of me. They used to make fun of Xbox, and it was a laughing stock. But you know who didn't care? Me. I wasn't doing it for money. I wasn't doing it because I was getting free stuff from anybody. I was doing it because they had the games, man. Like, they announced Killer Instinct, Dead Rising 3, Rise, Son of Rome, Forza Motorsport 5, Halo Master Chief Collection, Sunset Overdrive, Quantum Break, Titanfall. They announced all these games at the first two events they did in 2013, in the reveal and E3. That was a much better lineup. I cared about the games and still do. And then they slowly kind of got away. They're like, we invest $1 billion in future exclusives as well. And then they started canceling stuff and closing down studios, and you're like, what the hell? So I at least was happy then. I had an underpowered machine, but I didn't care because I was happy. Now, as an Xbox fan, I got this most powerful stuff and all this other crap, but the games just aren't there. So I'm unhappy, right? And people wonder why. That's why. It's that simple for me. Like, I can't put it any more bluntly than that.
I want to say for the
no,
my fault. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Hustle.
All right, my fault, Mooch. I just want to say for the record, I'd never even heard of what's this Quantum Error until y'all just mentioned it, and as you all were speaking, I just saw it. And
same.
My only complaint is that it's in first person because I prefer third person anyway because I love Gears. For those of you all who do not know, it looks really good like that.
Yeah.
That joint, it looked like it's gonna hit different. Is this the first game that's made? Is this like a new IP?
Looks like it.
As far as I know,
it's a brand new IP.
Jesus,
It's a new.
Because I saw PlayStation 5. It's on Xbox too.
Oh.
No, it's PlayStation exclusive.
Is it a lifetime PlayStation exclusive?
That's what we don't know.
Yeah, early in gens, you gotta
yeah.
you gotta be careful. Early in gens, people buy systems for console or consoles for exclusives, but then they end up coming to the other platform.
Yeah, but again, Kevin, don't get me wrong. You're 100% right, but it's what have you done for me lately? That's the way I keep saying. That's why people are like, well, Mooch, come on, Godfall and Deathloop, they're eventually. It doesn't matter about eventually.
I think one of the good things about
November,
that game is they built it strictly for the PS5 to start with.
Okay.
I think it's PS5 and PC, and they're like,
Is there
so
a release
we don't
date
have.
crap?
There's not there. We're hoping to hit launch, but it looks like it because of the situation going on. It's going to be early next year instead.
Well, that's fine. You have Ratchet and Clank. That's also rumored for that. That's what I'm trying to say. You have the
Yeah,
games
I
that
mean,
we
look,
do know about.
Insomniac put out something like 8 games this gen. I know some
it's
small,
insane.
some big,
Insane.
but yeah, they just really put out a lot of games.
Let me ask you guys this question. I'll start with Sean. Sean, what do you think about the next generation pre-order? When are we getting pre-orders? When are we getting dates? And does price matter as much, knowing what we know now with the lopsided launch titles? That's kind of
prices always matters, man.
Well, again,
bro.
Well, hold on, Xbot. No, because I think even Sean said it earlier. When it comes down to it, it console sales do matter, and the out the gate folks are the hardcore, and the hardcore are looking for games. So now Microsoft has said right off the bat, even if Series X is $100 cheaper than PS5, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for the conversation. My point is that everything that's going to be available for the Series X is available on my Xbox One X, which is sitting right next to me right now. The games I mentioned, Deathloop, Godfall, Miles Morales.
Yeah, but
if I want to play those games,
Mooch, you just said hardcore, and when it comes down to it, because I've seen people
hardcore pay the most.
Yo, real quick, when I've seen people on social media. They're like, well, when it comes down to it, why am I going to invest in new hardware, coming around the corner, whether it's PS5, whether it's Series X. And I kind of look at those posts weird because I'm like, they had me invested when they said virtually eliminating load times, right? I mean, that
both
right
companies
there.
are saying that.
Well, that right there, you said the hardcore. You said the hardcore. So the hardcore, like, oh shoot, me, Destiny 2 player, that Rainbow Road, man. Oh my goodness, like I cannot wait.
Hold on,
but
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, please finish.
No, because 3 seconds on that Rainbow Road, I'm invested into the next gen. I'm like, that if it only takes like 3 seconds, I don't care. You don't have to eliminate it completely. I like seeing my spaceship from time to time. I got a really rare one, so it's good. You know what I'm saying?
That's great, but I mean, I think when it comes down to it, ultimately, it's the game.
And
if for you, it's a 2014 game.
We've had
that's fine, but
you're talking again about the hardcore because we talked about a game, and again, I'm going to bring up a game like Medium that you said nobody out there really knows the name, but we're talking about the hardcore right now. So there are people in that hardcore space that are looking at that game like, damn, I want that.
That is
all right. So
that's true, but I don't know if it's. I don't know if the Medium has the magnitude.
Well, I'm not. You know me with talking sales. I really, really don't like talking sales when it comes down to it. But if some of these rumors are true about how low the Lockhart can go, the thing about that, and it's something that we possibly have never seen in the console gaming industry. If it gets low enough to bring the casual in on day one, that would be really interesting.
I just want to chime in as a GameStop employee. When the holiday rush is happening, people come up and they go, "I want a Switch." We don't have any, man. I'm sorry. Okay, what else do you have? We got the PS4 Slim bundle with Spider-Man. Okay, I don't care what it has. Just give it to me. I guess get something for this kid. Okay, I'll get it.
I've dealt with those customers too, bro.
Yeah. They will go. You got a PS5? No, sorry, sold out. What do you have then? Xbox Series S. What does it come with? 2 months of Game Pass and you can play Dragon Quest on it. Okay, I don't care what I can play on. Just give me that's gonna happen.
No, their next question.
You really want to be
next question is how
option?
much is it? Next question is how much is
How much is it?
If they can hit that Lockhart, if they can really go as far as some of these rumors, and again, people in the chat, rumors. I have no idea what.
Yes.
But if they can get down that low as some of those rumors, that customer's eyes will light up. Okay?
Oh my! You get it for that price, and my kid's gonna have something to play. Sure.
On the other hand, this sounds very familiar because right now the Xbox One S still retails for $299. So
sure.
I can still remember people going, that sad edition is going to be, they're going to really kill it. They're going to really come back now. Hold on. Mooch, you can back me up, Mooch. People were saying that was going to be $150. Microsoft is coming back. It's going to be $150. What did they price it?
With the coupon.
$250.
Yeah,
$250. And then actually, it was the same price as the S going at that time with the disc drive. Like,
it was like $50 cheaper.
But when they did drop it to $150,
it's sold
out. They sold.
Yes, I sold a lot of those last holiday.
I sold a lot of those, and I'm still, and I will sell even more of them if I still have.
Yeah, people, and then I saw on sites everywhere pop up. People were trying to buy physical games for their kids and stuff with it. Like,
they did. There were people who would walk up with the little display box and be like, "Okay, and I want these 2 games." I was like, "They don't work on that." And I was exactly. That's gonna happen with the PS5 this fall. Like, I'm sorry, you can't buy that kid Miles Morales. You gotta buy this little card for $50.
Well, what I found interesting from what Cam was saying though, and I don't know if you guys picked up on it, he was basically, I loved his one example. Hi, I'll take a PS5. Oh, we don't have any more of those. I guess I'll take an Xbox Series X then. You know what I mean? It was like
they're all gonna sell out.
It's almost like, you know what I mean? It's when you go to McDonald's at 10:35 in the morning. You're like, you guys still doing breakfast? They're like, no. You're like, all right, I guess I'll take a French fry. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
that's what happens during the holidays.
I mean, there's a good example of that not happening. That's with the Dreamcast. When people went to go get the PS2, I know, but when people went to go get the PS2, they're like, well, we don't have any. We got a Dreamcast. Nah. You know, like seriously, that happens.
Well,
I mean, I'm not saying
that's
like
the Dreamcast wasn't getting support at that time. They were like, it was dead, right?
Yeah, that thing was awesome, man.
Still my favorite console.
Hey, I was much happier. I was much happier in the first
games.
I was much happier the first couple years of Dreamcast than I was with the first couple years of PlayStation 2. So, I mean,
PlayStation 2 didn't have a whole lot of good games. We could talk retro all day, right? Like,
I was playing my 2K with the without an Ethernet. I was the 56K modem, man, stuttering across the screen.
Yes, I have 2 questions because I saw Sean in the chat too. I want to ask him how the hell Friday the 13th is on the Switch. But besides that,
that's on the Switch.
Oh yeah, it's on the Switch.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
I don't think it comes with the cartridge. I think it's
Sean's like addicted to it.
No, it's all on the cartridge.
Okay.
I have a digital copy too. I've put hundreds of hours into it. I loved it on the PS4, and then I was just like, well, you know, because I was aware of how to play it. And I was like, well, when the Switch version comes out, there's going to be all these idiots who don't know how to play the game. So I have an advantage.
That's me with Apex.
And it's pretty much been that way ever since.
Sean, let me ask you this, though. I got to ask you, because, I mean, listen, I meant to get to some of the things on your videos that you were just talking about, too, especially what Nintendo would have in store for 2021, possibly a new Zelda you were kind of hinting at today. But I do want to ask you, do you think price... Like, I mean, it's obvious that the $299 price tag for the Switch played a major role in its success, right? So, Xbox Series X coming out, I mean, this is only for talk. There's absolutely not even rumor of this, but they're saying possibly $100 less than the PS5, which I don't think the Xbox Series X, all that kind of machine in there. You know, they always say, well, you can make it up on the software. Well, if they don't have any first-party games, so where's the software? So, I think maybe third-party games. Do you think that the price is going to impact how Microsoft will try to attack Sony this upcoming holiday?
I think it has to, because really it's the only thing that they have left with the Series X. And to me, I don't know that $100. I mean, look, the systems are going to sell. It's not like you're going to walk in and there's going to be, you know, 1 million Xbox Series X stacked up high.
Right.
But it's about demand. It's about, you know, supply and demand. And, you know, if everywhere is sold out of a PlayStation 5 and all you have is an Xbox Series X at every single retailer, that's sort of a bad look. I don't know that $100 would be quite enough to persuade the average consumer, because like you said, you're getting a PlayStation 5, you're getting a Spider-Man game, you're buying an Xbox Series X, you're getting Game Pass. And two things I want to bring up. everything I've heard about the medium is that it's a 2021 game. I don't know if that's changed or anything like that, but I've always been under the impression that that was a 2021 game. And the whole thing about the Xbox Lockhart or the Xbox Series S, everything I've heard about that is that, yes, it is a real thing, but it's not coming out this holiday. Everything I've heard is that it is a more of like a early 2021 release. So if that's the case, if Microsoft only comes to the ball game with the Series X, like, it's gonna be a weird Christmas, man. It's gonna be a weird Christmas. So.
What do you consider a weird Christmas though, when it's not gonna be available after they sell out?
True, but
that's what I keep saying. I always go back to they're going to sell out regardless. Their problem is gonna be in the beginning of next year. What are they going to be able to
keep people happy?
Yeah, what are they going to do to keep people happy on top of already bringing more people in? What's going to happen when that next set of systems comes in the beginning of January and February after all the dust is settled on a holiday and stuff? I mean, even for real, I even think in January they'll be fine because there'll be a lot of people still looking for systems and stuff. And it feels so good to have somebody else on this podcast that can understand exactly how I feel when I've been saying for 2 years that no matter what happens, people will buy whatever you have available.
Yeah,
it gets to a certain point where people will just buy it, and
they are frustrated and standing in front of that register, and you're like, "I don't have that," and then they go, "Well, give me the Switch Lite," and I'm like, "Okay,
yeah," because you got to think a lot of these people like
I'm no longer alone.
Yeah, a lot of these, because like I said, the thing that I always said about Microsoft, they never had the opportunity to win next generation. They only had an opportunity to make up some of the lost ground they had from this generation. A lot of people they lost so many people that were on Xbox 360 that went over to PS4. And they never got those people back. I always said the number one thing they needed to do was they needed to get people in the Xbox ecosystem first, because they were going to buy PlayStations no matter what. If you let people buy a PlayStation 5 before they even think about buying a Xbox, they're not going to probably buy an Xbox, because at that point, they already got 90% of the games, plus the better games when it comes to the first party are already on that system. But if you get people in your Xbox ecosystem, there's a better chance that you could keep them over there for certain things like third party. Like most of us play on Xbox because of the third party support that they get and how the games, for the most part, run better on that system. If you're not in that camp, you just play on PC. But that's where Microsoft needs to get. But if they don't get people at the initial point and let PlayStation run away with this again like they did, then they'll be in the same situation. But I don't think they're really going to struggle until we get to March. And hopefully by that time, they have some type of deals in place with third party, because I don't think first party is going to be anywhere near capable of pulling them out of what they need to be pulled out of this year. Third party is where they're going to have to spend that money to be able to get it. But it already looks like Sony beat them to that. But that's when their problem is going to start.
The thing is, according to a lot of the reports for that, Microsoft was trying to get third party stuff, but they didn't bring it up. Like, how do you get outbid by Sony? Like supposedly Sony's got no money, but
that's what the thing people don't realize is, and I think this is just like the whole situation is, I think Microsoft is looking at how Game Pass is their, if you're not giving me the game in Game Pass, I don't want it. I don't want content. I don't want you to give me in-game items and exclusive stuff like that. I don't want that. I want you to give me the entire game to put in Game Pass.
It's so weird though, because that CrossFire X game isn't in Game Pass, like the single player. You have to buy.
Right, I agree, but I think that's the type of deals they're looking for. Because they have like the whole thing. Like the reason I think like Destiny was such a big one, the fact that they got everything up into the DLC plus the new DLC is how they're actually looking at. And I think all their games they want like that. If they can't have the game, they're not gonna get anything. That's why they probably went to Ubisoft, or not Ubisoft, Square Enix, and was like, hey, what does it take to get Avengers into Game Pass? And the number was way too high and they didn't want to spend it, or they just didn't want to put it in there in general. But I think that's where their business deals are compared to Sony. Sony's like, just give us what you got, and that is good enough for them.
mean, to their credit, though, like I, who would have normally bought Avengers on Xbox, is going PlayStation for that. You know what I mean? Like that stuff works. You know, like people want to, like, here's the thing. I get tired. Me and Mooch have been talking about this for a while now because we both used to play a lot of multiplats on Xbox, and we kept saying, I hate missing this content. Like, Mooch was a big Destiny player for a long time, and he was like, damn it, I have to get Destiny on the PlayStation now because they're getting this strike first, or they're getting this DLC first. Yeah. Like, I'm tired of missing out on this stuff, and I feel the same way with stuff, right? Like, I am tired of missing out on content because I bought stuff on an Xbox. Like, if Phil doesn't want to pony,
right?
If Phil doesn't want to pony up for it, it's basically him not ponying up for the money to do that for his gamers. It's the same thing as letting, you know what I mean, is basically taking content away from his fans, because Sony's going to continue to do that. And he can sit there and try to play the high road all he wants, but the fact is we know that they tried to get these things and failed to do it. It's like, and then the games that they do get are these super small games, man. Like, I get it. Like, you might want Scorn or the Medium. Like, that stuff doesn't interest me about as much as Blair Witch did, right? This is the same problem that they've had for the last couple of years at E3s, where they would announce Blair Witch or, you know, Last Night or whatever it is. And, you know, those games are like 24-hour exclusives or whatever. Like, that doesn't really interest me to get an Xbox. You know, I want real reason. Like, right now, I'm begging for a reason to pick one up at launch, and I do content. So I by all reasons, I should get one because I'm going to talk about it. I should get one, but I'm having a hard time saying what real reason other than they're saying play your old game. That's like their pitch right now. Play your old games better. Like, okay, well, like, you know what I mean?
The thing about it, we said this a long time ago, and I mean, Crap's not just saying that. Like, it was well over a year ago. Could have been 2 years ago. I said, listen, if Sony gets content where you get an extra hat, or you get some kind of like decorative skin.
I don't care about that.
I don't care about that. I'm right there, Ken.
No one should care about that.
Right. I mean, some do, and if that impacts
if you're willing to buy a whole
decision,
console because
whatever.
there's a skin, sure.
Well, listen, Fortnite's entire scheme is built on that. So, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
Well, I mean, listen. Why wasn't it like Xbox? I was just gonna say, like, Xbox. I can remember PUBG. Remember how excited we were for that, Mooch?
Oh yeah.
And what did we get? Like an Xbox hoodie. Well, and then on the PlayStation side, when they got it, you get like Nathan Drake and stuff. Like,
yeah,
you got way better stuff. So
Way
I was just like,
stuff.
man, that is so lame. Like, Xbox, we had to deal with like this really buggy game. And then the PlayStation people get it, and they get like way better skins and stuff like that. So I did think it was, damn, it's late, Mooch. What the hell?
Well, listen, I got news for you. I just wanted to, I got a couple of super chats here. You want to say shout out to Mastered? I called him Altony, and I totally messed it up. He even wrote me back. He goes, it's UI Tony. So shout out to Mastered UI Tony. Sir X-Man commented on Mooch, McDonald's has breakfast 24 hours now. And that's what I thought.
Whoa.
But when I was
they
driving,
don't right now.
They don't, because I was
Limited
driving,
menu.
I was driving from
It's
Massachusetts
limited
back
menu.
to New York, and I'm like, hey, it was literally 10:35, and he's like, we ended 5 minutes ago. I'm like, man, come on, really?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm sorry, dude. So that happened to me.
They don't have the bagels. They don't have grilled
No.
chicken. Nobody does, man. Like, it's limited to menu still.
Limited menu. So shout out to Blaze 4K, who says, Sony baby. Shout out to Blaze for stopping by, man. Appreciate Blaze being in the chat.
The sooner, man, they better not, man. Like, can you imagine? I think September that we're gonna finally get prices and be able to pre-order. That's literally 2 months from the dates. How are they going to get it? Like, before they usually open them up at E3, and then they have time to gauge it and stock and all this kind of stuff. Like, it really does worry, even though like Sony's like, well, we'll have 10 million or whatever.
Remember the Switch had that event in like January of
couldn't get a
2017.
Switch for months later.
And then they released it in March. So like, I'm just saying it's not like good, but people have done it before, right? Like,
I'll be honest with you, the Switch just became available again, because I got to be honest with you.
My younger brother used to go to Walmart all the time. I gave him money. I was like, here, carry this with you. And if you ever come across a Switch, like sometimes he'd go over there after work at like midnight and stuff, and he found one. It was like months later, but it was like, you know, it's just one of those things where, damn, you know, like I want these things to go on sale so I can pre-order and, you know, get my stuff locked in, because I want to be there day one. I've never not been there day one for ever since I've been old enough to afford my own console. So, you know, Dreamcast-ish.
Let me do a quick shout out to Viper XT. He comes back. He says the Medium, guys, is listed as December 2020. He says Crossfire X, Scorn, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and Second Extinction are launch titles as well. And, you know, I mean, like, you know, Viper, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But my thing about it is this: is I look at that list, and I'm telling you, from somebody that's reading the news every day, you know, you have got RGT here, you've got Crap, you got Bit, you've got Forte. These guys that do daily gaming information. Like, I look at that list and I go, okay, that's kind of like for me, that's like a B-roll. You know what I mean? Like that's not like I need a big name. You need that Halo. You need that Spider-Man. You need that Uncharted. You know what I mean? You need that Forza.
Yeah.
You need that Fable. I need something.
Yeah, you need that incentive.
Yeah,
not only that, but
those are
then
great behind the A-listers.
Like what they're hiring for Fable. Like, what are these developers doing? Like, that was another thing I wanted to talk about for a minute. Was like they're still hiring like writers and main writers and stuff for this game.
They just announced it. It wasn't ready.
Like, holy crap!
I think people got a little too ahead of where people were like, Fable's going to be ready at the launch of the console because
I knew that was. I knew that wasn't going to happen. But this game leaked 2 years ago. But then I also found out
that leak could have been like they're thinking about it, and then everyone ran with it and played telephone.
Well, the way I understand it came about was they wanted to do a new open world RPG, and nobody wanted that, right? That developer's only done our game, they've done Forza. Nobody wanted it. Horizon Zero Dawn did extremely well for Sony, and then Phil was like, "Hey, can you guys turn this game into a Fable?" And apparently that's how it sort of happened. But that team only had like 65 people. They trying to staff up to over 200. They only had 65 people this year up until they started doing these hiring sprees. And so I figured like when they showed that and they didn't have any gameplay or anything, that that's years away, which is unfortunate because that this is what I said. And like, if people think I hate Xbox, I think 2023 it's going to be a hell of a year for Xbox. I honestly do. I think that's going to be a great year for Xbox, right? There's going to be really good games for everybody. I think there's probably get another Gears. You'll get probably maybe Fable or Avowed, or you're going to start getting some games then, right? Yep. And I think that'll be great. But I just think in the scheme of things, and I know maybe Microsoft doesn't care, other people don't care, but they're going to be 60, 70 million consoles behind. And I think that stagnates the industry a little bit, right? Like, I think that'll be good for them, but that does stagnate things just a bit. And I just was hoping for a little bit better competition right out of the gate. I thought, they keep saying they learned their lesson, but you launch with nothing, and you only launch with one game with their last console, which was years ago.
I just been listening to what they've been telling me, and they've been telling me that Game Pass is their future, and the system was something that was is there if you want it. So I'm sorry, I just automatically just assume look, you don't care if people buy your system and you giving people other alternatives to actually get your games and be in your ecosystem. So that's why I said PlayStation is going to win next generation. I don't know if it's going to be as bad. I don't know if it's going to be as bad as this generation, but they're going to win handily. But
after that July show, PlayStation went to the number one most requested thing on Amazon, and they doubled their production. So I mean, they obviously, and I don't know, people are following Jim Ryan. Some people are saying it's not him. Like Cory Barlog and a lot of the PlayStation developers follow this Jim Ryan. He doesn't have a check mark, but he's taking shots every day on Twitter lately. He said he reopened his account. I don't know, Mooch, have you seen the one I'm talking about?
I have. When I saw the developers following him, then I followed him back as well. Because
I did too. Because he took some shots with the controller today. He's like X and he's like, there's more to a controller than X and S or something like that, right? It was just, I don't know, it's just really kind of funny. Also, they hyped up Spider-Man and stuff about how everything's still on time or whatever. So I just thought that was it. I like that kind of stuff, right? To me, that's trash talk, between football teams, man. I'll trash talk a Pittsburgh fan all day. So, I like that back and forth, and I just think that it's, I mean that football-wise. I'm from Maryland.
Crap's hey, it's getting late. And he's like, but I got a half an hour show left of me. I'm like, what's going on,
yeah.
Crap?
Hey,
what's
man,
going on?
I'm good. I talk a lot. I told you I had a lot to say today.
Listen,
I told you. So
this was a great show tonight. And Crap, I can't thank you enough. Outstanding opinions from everybody. I wanted real quick. I have to. Rice79. He goes, "What's the worst Xbox year? 2017 or 2020?"
2020.
Probably 2020. Yeah.
2017.
Think so?
Yeah.
2020. Zero. At least I had Forza.
Sure. I mean, 2020 is not over yet. I haven't played those Game Pass games, but who knows? They might be equally bad. I guess
I was gonna
find out.
I had Super Lucky's Tale.
I'm gonna.
It's not a bad game. It's not. I mean,
it's not a really
bad.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rice. Every time he comes back and he goes, "Yo, Mooch, invite King Thresh Gaming on." Let me tell you something, Rice. Something you don't know is me and King been talking behind the scenes, so we are collaborating as we speak. King, I see King. Shout out to King in the chat. Shout out to Salty. See those guys here. See Lethal. See all Doggy Dog. I see all you guys there. Me and King are talking. Like I said, it'll be either next week, the week after. We're gonna work something out. and get the podcast together. That's going to be a great show. You guys are going to be up for a really, really big treat with that one. So shout out to King. And then I got Sir X-Man. He comes back. He says Xbox release date November 3rd, election day. Maybe I thought they said November 6th, didn't they?
6th
is the big
November
rumor.
6th, yeah.
With that being said, guys, we had an outstanding show tonight. We ran over a little bit. I apologize. We also started a little late. That was also my fault. But listen, let me go in reverse order here. I want to say thank you to Sean. Sean, I am so sorry again for the Discord issue. Some of those conditions are out of my hands, but I got news for you, man. Always good to have you on here. Love your take. And I got to be honest with you. You threw a couple of bombshells out there tonight, man. I got to tell you, the ratings are going to go through the roof, buddy. I got news for you. So, Sean, honestly, keep the great content coming, man. You do something that's extremely special on your channel. You know, it's funny because there's a lot of people that cover Nintendo, like coverage, but like they don't have that kind of emphasis and oomph the way you do. I'm never going to forget the Beetlejuice segment you did, by the way, too. But that aside, I got to say, guys, if you don't know, which here's my little channel telling you about Sean's large channel, right? But like, in all honesty, he's got a great channel and he covers all video games. It does kind of focus on Nintendo, but I got to be honest with you, his enthusiasm, his excitement for gaming, dude, when you do the monthly specials of what's coming out for being a Nintendo Online member and you go through each of them, I absolutely love the pros and cons that you do. And it invokes me to turn on the Switch and just play some of those games. So I want to say, Sean, again, from the bottom of my heart, man, big fan of the channel. And thank you for being here tonight. Let people know where they can find you.
You can find me on RGT85 on pretty much every social media platform. Find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm all over the place. And thank you for all the kind words. That's probably the nicest thing anyone has ever said about me on YouTube, because usually it's hate videos about how I suck at life. So thank you.
Stop
I appreciate
it, man.
that.
You kidding me? By the way, I totally missed your intro too, and you used to actually be smoking a butt on there. I was like, this guy still got it, man. That's real life. That's what it should be about. So, dude, just great to have you on the show, Sean. Thank you so much. And then I got my buddy here. I got Cam, Ham, Bone. Yo, Cam, I got to be honest with you. Again, you know, it's funny. You're one of the only people I can say that even when I don't necessarily agree with your take, I'm still listening and I'm still buying in, man, because you know what? You just have a way about you that you can sell, man. So I got to tell you something, Cam. Love what you do to the show, man. You're always vibrant.
Yeah.
You always keep things positive. You never get upset, and you get your point across. So
I yell a little bit, you know.
that's all right, dude.
Sometimes you got it.
Welcome to this channel. That's what
Yeah,
we
I
do
know,
here,
yeah.
right? Hashtag who's yelling. Cam, great on Tick. Shout out to Cal and the crew over there as well. But Cam, let people know where they can find you. And thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime. You can find me on Twitter at Cam Hambone. You want to check out other projects I'm working on. I'm obviously with Tick at Tick Games Network or Tick Games Podcast on Twitter. You can follow us there. Our shows every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. Oh no, wait. Yeah, Pacific. Got it. My bad. And then otherwise, I do the wrestling podcast, Casual Wrestling Fan Podcast. It's two friends who watch wrestling as kids, but we didn't watch for 20 years or so, and now we got back into it, and now we're covering older stuff that we missed in the meantime. So that's at CWFPcast on Twitter. And yeah, I'm glad to come on. I'm glad to talk about stuff. You know, I love video games so much. I want to make video games the livelihood, right?
Yes.
And I love meeting you guys, talking to you guys, and getting in the Discord, and the pre-show's fun where we're John and, you know, getting on the show and, you know, seeing different points of views. It's fun. That's really like the base generic statement I have to wrap this up for myself. I love video games, and I love people who love video games.
That's a great slogan, and I kind of want to make a bumper sticker and use that, to be honest with you,
Yeah,
Cam.
put my face on it. My Twitter picture with the Morphe glasses.
Cam's like, just give me 10% and you got it, Mooch. You can have it. You
Less
run with
than
it.
5, Mooch. I got it the foot in the door, you know?
I'll promote it, I swear.
Hey,
Cam,
thank
thanks
you,
so much for being here, buddy. And then I got my buddy here, Hustle and Motivate. Yo, Hustle, by the way, I want to deeply apologize because my man Hustle has to work so early tomorrow, but Hustle's stuck out through the entire show. So, Hustle, I want to say thank you for being here tonight, man. You were here extra early and stayed extra late. So, listen, what you guys don't know, and he's about to let you know in a second, is that Hustle does not only podcasting, but he has a tremendous impact on YouTube gaming. So, yo, Hustle, let everybody know where they can find you, and thank you for being here tonight.
Hey, well, no. Thank you all for having me. It's been a great show and a great panel. My name is Hustle and Motivate. Progression is the obsession. And I want to say this. We have a very fun weekend ahead of us. I mean, Saturday at 4 p.m. And y'all let me know if I'm missing something. Saturday at 4 p.m. I am the son of the Ashen One. You can catch me on the Scumcast, but not this Saturday because I have to work overtime. But you can catch probably Gaming Forte on the Scumcast. Let's see. Spawn Wave comes on what time, RGT? Can you promote that, please?
9 p.m. Eastern.
That right. Mooch, you do something on Sundays with the Crap Gamer, correct?
That's correct. I do. MNC mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Hey, is there anything that I'm forgetting? Hey, Forte, I know that you and Slow-Mo have something very special that comes on Wednesday nights, correct?
Tuesday.
Thank you.
Yep. Tuesday, baby. It's 9 p.m.
What's the name of your podcast?
Forte? We ain't divulging that yet.
All righty. Well, Hustle, shut up. You have promoted everyone enough. Look, I have a very special announcement to make. Not right now, but I'm gonna make it on Twitter. So go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I am excited for the new opportunities that have been blessed my way. And we working, man. We definitely working. And crap. Shout out to you for being from Maryland, man. It's not. I guess it ain't too many of us. I know FC, yourself, and it's great.
Y'all from Maryland.
Listen, man.
I'm actually straight from Baltimore, man. I was born in Baltimore Memorial, so.
Oh, jeez, man. I'm born in Charm City. Tuck the chain.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Well, listen, man. I mean, my folks moved us to Florida when I was younger, but I lived in Baltimore for the first 5 years. Then we went back a couple times, and so my teams that I'll cheer for are Baltimore teams. Even though I live in Florida, I could never cheer for Florida teams except for hockey. You know what I mean? For some reason, I find it ironic that the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are in a state that has no ice, could I just for some reason I just find that to be funny. So I cheer for them. But and plus it's interesting to see that live, but yeah, man, Orioles, Ravens, Terps, all that stuff. So,
Lamar Jackson.
Man, I met Ray Lewis back in 2002. We did we went up to their training facility, and everybody was super nice. We went to the practices and stuff like that. One of my favorite players. Yeah, I met Ed Reed. I met Brian Billick, their coach. This was a year after they won the Super Bowl. And man, I was just, it had to be. It was so great because I remember my dad telling me enjoy it because he was a Colts fan. He's from Baltimore too. And he's like, they won Super Bowl V, and it took 30 years for a Baltimore team to go back and win. So he's like, enjoy it. So I did, man. And then when they won in 2012, I enjoyed it, man. And I hope, man, because Lamar Jackson, that guy impresses the hell out of me. I hope that they win some Super Bowls under him.
You're gonna get another.
You enjoy that, man.
I tell you what,
20 years of excellence.
Football is fun, man. Watch for the longest time, Ravens were defense, and I used to prefer to watch when they're on defense. Now it's I want to watch it when they're on offense. You know what I mean? I want to see what they do. It's just not only that, but I just feel like Lamar get a lot of hate. A lot of people just really was like, oh, he should change his position. I watched that man throw, and he can throw with the best of them. So, I don't I never understood that. I hope they come back and, do some stuff. It sucks because I no fans is going to be weird, but, I'm still looking forward to it. Yeah, sports. Sorry, Mooch. Go ahead.
I just want to say, in closing, I just want to say DMV all day. And, wow.
Sorry.
Okay. RGT. I just saw that. Thank you very much.
No problem, man.
Jesus, I'll holler at you behind the scenes. All right. Yes. All right. Here we go.
Awesome, man. And then I got my buddy here, Big Cloud's back. I don't know Big. I think Big Cloud fights crime in between podcasts. I'm not sure what he does. But
no, it's actually thundering in the midst of the show. That's why it took me out for a second. So let me get back on here in the middle of this thunder.
No, you're good, man. You're good. Good to have you back. But honestly, dude, thank you for being here tonight. Big Cloud not only has an amazing channel, does a lot of daily content. He does a podcast before this podcast, and then he does this show when he gets a chance. So, let people know where they can find you, man.
Back.
It's not easy, man.
It really isn't, but you already know. I have fun. I always like having that conversation, so it's cool. Appreciate the invite. Shout out to Forte. Crap, good to talk to you. RGT, first time meeting you. So good
to meet you, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, Bit.
What's going on, sir?
Oh, of course, Hustle. Of course. Even though I talk to you every day, I talk to you every Saturday. On Scumcast nowadays. Okay.
Yo, appreciate that, Bit. Thank you. Then I got my buddy here. He put his ear to the ground, man. He definitely put his 2 cents in tonight. Gaming, Forte. Appreciate you being here tonight, buddy. Let people know where they can find you.
Oh, as always, man. Gaming Forte, YouTube, Twitter. You already know where you can find me at there. Check us out on Wednesday nights with Brap. You know, the whole squad be there. Me and Slow-Mo doing our things on Tuesdays. This time it's going to be on his channel. It was on our channel, my channel this week. Shout out to the 50 plus people that was at that show, man. That was truly incredible. Only been doing this for like a month, and you guys already been showing out like huge support. So thank you a lot for that. And thank you to all you guys on the panel that be sharing that stuff out, because without you guys, we're only as small as the people around us that helps us, and you guys make us bigger than we actually are. So I really appreciate that. But outside of that, man, you guys have a great weekend, and we will see you all tomorrow on the Scumcast.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Forte. Shout out to Lethal Pop because Mooch, you're trying to set a record tonight. I swear I'm not. This has just been like a great conversation. And then I've got Xbot448 who had to leave a little bit early.
Battle time!
Thank you, Crap, for filling in.
Oh, that don't
for
mean
him.
you give him that outro. I don't want to hear that.
So Xbot moves his show from Saturdays to
Halo
Thursdays.
is great, yo.
And he's
Phil
going to say
Spencer,
that.
yo.
I like the yo.
Let's
That's
go.
not a bad part. I
Yeah,
like
yo.
that. And then last but not least,
Spencer,
I got
yo.
my buddy here, Crap Gamer Reviews and Crap. We've got a show on Sunday on your channel.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we got M&C mornings. It's gonna be a good show. Listen, I like nothing personal, Cam or anybody. You know, if I stepped on your toes, like I'm passionate about this stuff,
man,
and I was saving up the entire week for this. And I told Mooch that I was like, Mooch, you got a lot of guests. I said, you know, I got a lot to say. And so that's just how I am. It's just, yeah, I'm passionate about this stuff, but it's 100% nothing personal. And it is, you know, I'm a frustrated person when it comes to Xbox, and like that comes out, and you know, with this kind of stuff. So you know, I appreciate. Exactly. And so, you know, like I begged them, I'm like, give me a reason to buy it, please. And they just like, nah, you know, we don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? So it's a bit of a problem for me because I bought every single since the first one. So there's a bit of a problem. But yeah, you guys can check out my channel, Crap Gamer Reviews. Yeah, I mean, there's good stuff going there. I do some videos and, you know, just for fun, all that stuff is, and I'm come across really passionate. A lot of people like that. You know, I do unscripted and, you know, and just really kind of give my opinion on stuff mixed in with the news, because I feel like that's a much better way for me to do it personally. And when I can do like a little bit longer format, whereas I used to do like smaller videos, and now I can properly explain stuff. And I also was learning stuff, like I was learning about this DLSS stuff and machine learning, so that I can explain it to people, and people have been really appreciative of that. Like, well, how's that really going to work with PS5 or Xbox Series X? And you can explain it to them, and, you know, they're like, oh, I get it now, you know? So it's been fun, and I enjoy doing it, and like the M&C show, and like all you guys, they appreciate it. And it's been a good time. So thank you guys.
You got it, Crap. And like I said, looking forward to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Crap's channel this week. We're going to do M&C mornings. Guys, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Probably around 11:30, just being real.
It's usually around 11:30. True. We round down, but you're right. Guys, I didn't mention, but do consider becoming a member of the Mooch Maniac family. Hit that join button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button on the way out, guys. And we'll see you next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks to that great chat, great panel, great show, guys. Have a good weekend. Peace out.
Appreciate it. Later.
Right.